Welcome back, Death Slam fans. It's HD Philly B, and alongside with me is Soren Markov, and we are here for the Division 2 lower bracket final. So, Soren, this is a do or die moment for both of these teams.
Yeah, we're down in the lower bracket. No more mistakes can be made, and both these teams are looking to move on to the finals. Unfortunately, we won't be able to cover the Division 2 finale, but we will be able to cover this one, and you'll at least get to see one of the teams that moves on to face off in that final for the grand of Division 2 champions.
Yeah, and so who are those teams and how did they get there? Let's pull up the bracket to find out. I'll give you spoilers, folks. We do have Toxic Positivity versus Friends of Goomanity, which that's a fantastic name, but I am very much looking forward to this match because Toxic Positivity was one of the front runners, but they got knocked out early in the best of one rounds, and now they've had to fight and claw their way through the lower bracket rounds.
Well, it's been an underdog story for them for a lot of this tournament. They came in as the 9th seed you see there out of 12, and so they've had to really fight to make it here. Their only loss is to Lashback, the number 1 seed, who have made it onto the finals. So Friends of Goomanity and Toxic Positivity are fighting for that spot to face against Lashback, and Toxic Positivity want the run back. To do so, they're going to have to get through this number 3 seed, who've had a pretty solid run as well. The Friends of Goomanity just falling in the semifinals to Lashback. So both these teams taking an L versus the Lash himself. So it'll be a battle of who can get back there and really fight for the chance to take it all home.
Oh, so that everybody in this division is looking at Lashback saying, like, hey, we want a chance at the king. We want to take him down. So there is more on the line here than just beating your opponent. It's like we want to take a fight for the throne as well. So fantastic. And my friend, a lot of these players are on that data sheet. They are in some of those top positions for kills and assists and first bloods and things of that nature. And we'll get to that when we go through the draft. But as we work through anything that you're thinking of for these squads, is there a standout player that we should highlight?
Well, I'm going to mention someone who I know personally in Moosey on Friends of Goomanity. Because I know them, and I've talked a lot with them about how they're approaching this sort of meta and how they feel coming into this tournament. And they're feeling pretty positive here. They're in that number 3 seed. They felt pretty good coming into this tournament, but it's been a long run for them. They've been here even longer than we have here on the stream. They've been fighting all through Friday in some of the tiebreakers just to get in the tournament and find their seeding. So it's been a really long ride for them, and they're just trying to fight through that exhaustion and play as well as they can here on Sunday.
And when the people say that esports is not a physical sport, okay, you sit in this chair for 8 hours and you try to really focus your eye muscles and your fingers and your neck and your shoulders and your back, your knees, whatever, and tell me that's not a hard thing to do. There's even more to go. Even if they win this match, friend, they've got the grand finals to then fight through too. So you have to have your energy drinks available, your friendship with you, make sure you hydrate, all that jazz to keep you going throughout. I'm glad you highlighted Moosey because they're one of the assist leaders, 250 assists throughout the season. I mean, that cannot be understated. A prolific support player. But I want to get into the P's and B's, friends. I want to see how this draft lays out.
It's going to be exciting to see because we've seen a couple of teams let through the Kelvin. Just last match we saw Twin Omens versus Buffs and 10. Kelvin got through twice, I believe. So it's maybe not 100% ban rate anymore, but he still looked strong anytime he gets to come on screen. So it's interesting seeing how these teams approach the slight shakeup from Friday's patch and how they, in most parts, are taking it the same way, but just with those small key differences that can mean a lot in a game like Deadlock. Maybe even a 7 resurgence we're starting to see, but we will come in here into the draft, and Toxic Positivity will have the first set of bans and the first picks as the Amber Hand, so let's see where they go with this.
Oh, do you think it's going to be the pocket again? I mean, we've seen a lot of pocket ban in this one. This guy is talked about all the time. Very strong, good in lane, good at objectives, good at initiating in team fights with the affliction. Can do a lot of things right. I'm sure we'll talk more about him. But the Infernus, every time the Infernus was played in the previous series, it was a win. Is that a ban? Nope. It's going to be the Yamato first.
Understandable. Yamato is one of the kind of winners from Friday's patch. She wasn't really changed at all, whereas a lot of the other top dogs in the meta right now received at least some kind of nerf. You may look at ones like Kelvin and say it wasn't enough, but It was at least something, right? And so that means that everyone under him came up just a little bit. So we've seen some really powerhouse showings out of Yamato players recently, both here and in some other tournaments that are going on. So not too shocking to see it banned out here, but you brought up the Pocket, which I think is another key player in the meta right now. The really crucial pinch point for him right now for a lot of these teams is finding a player who plays him well. Pocket's one of those like niche heroes that only some people are able to play. A lot of his skills aren't very transferable from other heroes. So you have to have someone who's put in the hours on Pocket to really be able to play him. But it seems like both these teams are pretty confident that the other team won't be able to be too much of a nuisance on Pocket, because Toxic Positivity will be banning that Kelvin, not letting that one go through with the dome and just general annoyance that he is.
And I like that pick. That's a fine pick. I wouldn't be surprised to see Friends of Goomanity pick up the Infernus first. I'm glad you highlighted the Pocket in terms of the skill cap that he has, and you have to have some hours on it. Well, Maku on the side of Toxic Positivity is 6-3 over the season on Pocket. So I would imagine maybe that's why they banned the Kelvin, because they're like, well, we're going to maybe first pick Pocket and see how it goes. I mean, this guy, most kills on the season, 155. So if that's the guy he wants to play, that's the guy you're going to pick.
Yeah, and there's just a lot of respect put on numbers like that. But Friends of Goomanity will be picking up the Infernus, as you said. He's been a strong showing despite the recent nerfs. The numbers on that nerf look kind of big. You see the bullet growth, I think, was like 33% nerf, but a lot of the really crucial stats for Infernus were the things that weren't touched. So bullet damage isn't really what you're building into on Infernus. It's a lot of the afterburn damage and some maybe flame dash stuff, but that means that Infernus is still kind of top dog in the meta as the carry of choice. We've seen some Ivy, we're seeing some Mina as well. Toxic Positivity will go with that one as their carry of choice, but it's still kind of Infernus top of the pack.
Yeah. Okay, so then let's talk about that matchup. Let's say Mina and Furnish, they find themselves in an awkward 1v1, all same souls, same ability level. Who comes out on top?
Usually got to imagine that it's Infernus. He generally has the better neutral game. Mina, if she gets a really good ult and can silence him before he can flame dash away or get a lot of those afterburn procs stacking, she can have a chance. But Infernus in general, I would say, is better at just being able to hold M1 and burn her down, which is, again, why we're seeing him be usually the carry of choice over Mina. He's likely to win those engagements, unless the Mina can get in a more prolonged fight and not let those afterburn stacks tick up. Paradox, however, is going to help with a lot of that. She's able to take one hero out of the fight, pretty much. If you can get a good swap, that's the way that a lot of these teams are choosing to initiate their team fights, and it's proven pretty effective.
Yeah, and I love to see the Paradox back in action. There was times where she was,
Math, history, social studies. It's all been leading up to this moment. Life is short, but lunch is shorter. That's the Lunchables effect.
Good, it's your boy DDG, man. Y'all ready? Watch this.
When we come through, better get out the way, cause all locked up in the beat his case. Clap. All I need is a beat. I can say anything on a song and it's still gonna slap.
Wingstop lemon pepper all flats? Lemon pepper all flats.
Lemon pepper wings.
Tastes so good.
Wingstop lemon pepper all flats for Lake?
Seriously?
Wingstop's here.
Freddy Fazbear's Pizza. Definitely not the Freddy's I remember.
This is the original. Nobody's been here for decades.
Clasificado PG-13.
Fill your potatoes? Oh yes. Fill your eggs and pasta? Hello, creaminess. Philadelphia, a creamy touch of magic.
First phase, you got to ban her. Then she kind of fell off for a while. It wasn't really, nobody was playing her. Now she's back because people are understanding how much that swap can really do. And she's good at putting in the damage as well. Strong in the lane, you can mid, can put her on the sides, wherever you want to go. Fantastic character all around. What I'm sad to not see though, Soren, is Mo and Krill, because there was the Mo and Krill meta for a long time, and I want to see a Mo and Krill because that's my favorite guy. I love the combo, I love the Warp Stone with it, so I'm hoping to see a Mo and Krill out here, but it's the Friends of Goomanity. They get their next 2 picks. Last time we saw the Abrams, we saw Yamato kind of paired up with that. Curious to see, maybe it's the Holiday that gets picked up here for the Friends.
Yeah, Mo, not as much of a player right now in the meta, especially against an Infernus. So not likely to be the choice here, at least for Toxic Positivity. Goomanity could pick it up a bit later, but they're going to go with an early Lash instead, which is pretty surprising because Lash, not typically seen as one of the key players in the meta right now. You know, he's, yeah, that's true, in the namesake of this tournament, or a lot of our tournaments at least, but he's not really a great lane, and then his ultimate is just kind of okay. Mina's got the tools to dodge it, so do a lot of the other meta heroes, so a bit of a surprising pickup there. The Page, not quite as much. We're seeing quite a lot more of Page recently, so I'm curious to see where Goomanity go with this Lash.
Yeah, very curious to see. Well, only time will tell. Chat, what do you think? What lane pairs would you like to see the Lash be with? I mean, Page we saw with the Wraith last time, so definitely can pair with the Infernus, but the Abrams is still on the board. Is that the pickup here for Toxic Positivity? Maybe the Warden, maybe the Ivan. They have players that are very lethal on those characters. I'm curious to see. We know that Dwalt will be on the Paradox. They are 5-5 on that character so far throughout the season with 239 assists. That can't be understated. That means they're getting involved. Maybe they're not living, but they're getting involved.
Yeah, Paradox is one of those heroes who's kind of sometimes the sacrificial lamb for the team. You know, the swap also puts her in a compromising position a lot of the time, so it's not always possible to get out like that. But the assists numbers there mean that he's doing his job on that hero and starting off a lot of those team fights pretty well, and the Ivy is going to help follow up with some of that. I like this, I think, a bit better than the Mina as a choice of farm priority number 1. You know, Mina is pretty good if you can give her some farm and then was able to get in some good ults, but maybe not reliable enough to just go into a team fight and cause havoc every single time. Ivy, a bit better at that. The Capacitor Rush means that she's able to get in and really silence a lot of these problematic heroes. It removes the barriers from Page, it removes Infernus Flame Dash, so a solid pickup there. And then going into the bans, we got the Pocket. Nobody picked him up, so Humanity say that we don't want to see that again. And then the Haze from the other side, another initiation hero that can pair really well with someone like the Lash or the Page.
I mean, you'd think Toxic Positivity, they want the guy that spews out the toxins and stuff. You know, he's like the affliction, he's just like on everybody, but maybe that's in the back pocket somewhere. Maybe they don't want everybody to know that this Maku guy is like 150 kills on this character or whatever. The Ivy, though, is there a world where this is actually more of a support Ivy? Because Great Skeletor is the Ivy player, 6-2 over the season, you know, but mostly in the supportive role instead of going for this, you know, capacitor, Titanic magazine kind of build. But I don't know. Time will tell. Holiday, though, I knew that was going to be picked up. Amsung is 4-0 on this character. I mean, that can't be understated as well. But in our previous series, Ian was 0-6 on Calvin and lost both of his matches. So you never know. Those stats in the season don't matter here. Like we talked about the pregame, it's only winning is the objective. And it's the Mo and Krill. Oh, love it.
You called it. You said you wanted to see Mo and Krill. He's one of the characters that's more fun to watch than to play against. That's for sure. So this is a lot of pick here for Friends of Goomanity. They've got 3 heroes who really specialize in getting those small little pickoffs. Lash maybe a bit more teamfight oriented, but a lot of the time the Death Slam can just be used as a solo pickoff opportunity. And then just the Infernus for the damage. So really, really light on that for them. I want to see them pick up like a Wraith or something here as the last pick. But Toxic Positivity will get a chance to respond before that happens. And they go with the Warden, who's seen a bit of a resurgence lately.
Yeah, and Deathy called it. If you look at his tier list, which everybody should have access to, he's like, he's B tier, but he's one patch away from, you know, being S tier. And that patch happened on Friday, and I think now he's, not first priority, but definitely a character that you can now consider in the rotation. Friends of Goomanity, do they need more spirit? Do they need like a Yamato, or Yamato's band, sorry, do they need a 7? Do they need something that provides a little bit extra like oomph in that department?
Again, I want to see the Wraith because I think that's just the generic best scaler left available to them. Spirit could definitely be a choice, though. You know, you can build the gun Holiday, and at that point, you're just kind of missing that more Spirit Brawler sort of hero, in which case we might see a Calico come out.
Ooh.
There's a lot of tankiness coming out from Toxic Positivity. They see that there's a lot of pick, but then not a lot of damage from Goomanity. All right, we're both getting our favorites today. We're seeing the McGinnis. That's an unusual choice for a carry hero, but hey, I'll take it. I happen to know that there is a good Goomanity player who plays the McGinnis. Name escapes me right now, but this has been hinted about in some of the scrimbucks that I get in my ears, so yeah. Typically, I think that Goomanity like to play a more supportive McGinnis, but in this role, this is definitely a game where you want to go with like the sustainable gun sort of gameplay.
Folks, if you don't know, Soren and I, we've been casting together for a couple months now, probably 3 or 4, and we talk about your love for McGinnis and how she's kind of been at the lower end of the totem pole for pretty much since the game has started. But a wonderful character, a lot of fun things you can do to see her. This might be the first time I've ever casted a McGinnis. I might have to look at the ability. No, I know the abilities, but it's going to be wonderful to call the spectral walls and the turrets and the health pots and all that stuff. So very interesting way to round out the drafts. That reveal of the final pick, that gave me goosebumps. And folks, I hope these drafts are giving you goosebumps because this is the lower bracket final. It's a best of 3. So even if you lose this one, you still got some fight left. But this is the do or die series. You got to pull the tricks out of the bag now. Soren, as we're looking at these, any besides McGinnis, I know you got some bias there, but any draft fits your fancy more?
I do just overall like Toxic Positivity's draft better. As much as I love the McGinnis, there's a reason why she's not picked a lot of the time, and same with the Lash. I feel like Goomanity are just missing that piece of like mid-game damage. The Infernus comes on a bit later. McGinnis also needs a little bit to ramp up. Really kind of relying on your Holiday, I suppose, to do a lot of that damage in the mid-game. But more than anything, you're going to be reliant on the CC that you have. You know, there's a lot of ways that you can get someone just to be completely helpless for a team fight, but you got to do that outside of a 6v6 sort of situation. If Toxic Positivity can get a Paradox swap and then the Abrams CC, a Warden ult, Mirage thrown in as damage, like they are just so advantaged when it comes to these big brawly team fights. So Goomanity gonna have to play around that and recognize that they can't take early team fights and use the objective pressure from something like a Paige McGinnis lane to take an early lead here.
Okay, I love the analysis. That's why you know the X's and O's better than anybody out there. Well, Deadlock fans, I hope you are ready to deadlock and roll because we are heading into the lower bracket finals here in Division number 2. The lanes are setting out. Let's see, we got the 7 and the Lash versus the Warden and the Mirage in lane number 1 here, Sword.
Yeah, that's I'm just looking at these lanes. These all seem like really good lanes for Toxic Positivity. The Infernus and the Lash, that's good once you get up to the ultimates. If you can get a Death Slam, Infernus can finish off anyone that you hit pretty easily. But Warden, in the meantime, can cage a Lash if he goes for the Ground Slam and really punish him if he doesn't have the stamina in the bank. Mirage as well, just going to be poking away at these two heroes. And in the mid lane, Paradox Mina, I mean, you just don't want to ever peek against those two. And the Moankrill's going to be able to sustain a good bit against that, but not enough, I feel. And then the right side, I feel like that's Friends of Humanity's best opportunity to take an early tower, because as good as Ivy and Abrams are at just sustaining, punishing you for getting too close, the one time I've played a Paige McGinnis lane, it felt magical. Like, it was just so easy to push up and take that tower. Like, the amount of objective pressure here from the Paige McGinnis on Pear and Moosey, like, it's just so hard to overcome.
But is there kill potential, or is it just they just overwhelm you by just clearing the wave so methodically that you're just like, oh crap, I'm under my tower and I didn't even realize it, and then they're just shooting the tower instead of you?
Well, the two are sort of linked, right? If you can get wave pressure, that gives you time to be able to poke without the enemy being able to shoot back as easily. So if you can get the wave prio, which of course Ivy is going to be contesting for, it's really going to be on Skeletor here and his Ivy to keep the waves clear very quickly. But if you can get the prio and get under the enemy's tower, you see here, Babbage's is already down to half HP. The fire rate from McGinnis, especially once this Paige gets a couple points in the defend and fight, is going to mean that these fights aren't terrible either.
Okay, I love it. We might have to come up with a new name for defend and fight for this McGinnis-Paige combo, because we had one for the Yamato Paige, the dive and fight. So we'll workshop that, buddy, I'm sure. I love the monster round pickups early on in the mid lane. We know how crucial that is I mean, I feel like there's so much poke here. Those love bites are just, you feel like you might stack those on the Moan Krill so easily, especially if he gets pressured out with the time bombs. His lane is going to be one to watch. There's so much excitement around this match and these lanes. Very curious. What's the win con here for then Toxic Positivity? Are they going to be looking to try to pressure out mid and then rotate, or do they want this Mina to be safe for a certain amount of time? What are you thinking?
Well, it is going to be a lot on this Mina. As you said, it's so easy to get those stacks on the Mo and Krill. You saw one pop just there. The Sandblast curving a little weirdly around the architecture there, but yeah, this pressure from the mid lane is what they need to come online here, and they just need to not fall behind so that in the mid game they can not fall to all of the pick potential of Friends of Goomanity. You see there, that's an early death though for Babbage's. It's going down to all of that pressure, and so will Skeletor. So with an alive wave here for Friends of Goomanity, I can tell you this Guardian's going down to half right away.
Did you have a crystal ball? Do you got an 8-ball? Like, how did you know that was gonna happen? That's an easy prediction there for you, my friend, and you called it perfectly. This Moan Krill, though,
It's
he
almost
might be
dead.
It's almost. Holy smokes! Yeah. Okay, that's all it takes. One pair of eliminations, and that that Guardian is going to be gone. But speaking of being gone, the Holiday, one love bite will do it. That's not a Vampiress you want to go against.
No, and again, this is the story of what we have going on here. The right side, very favored for Goomanity, but this mid lane is so deadly from Toxic Positivity. It's going to be a battle of who can win their lane and then get off an effective gank first. Left side, so far, kind of stalling out. We see a couple of low health bars, but then they come right back. So the left side is probably going to be the target for any of these ganks that come in after these lanes are won. You gotta imagine.
My friend, I'm seeing a Rusted Barrel on page, and if I'm checking my notes correctly, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 patches in a row, they've tried to buff this item. Now, finally, somebody's using it. Valve is jumping for joy. I mean, is that because they want to build into Disarming Hex, you think, on page to really kind of stifle the enemy, or you think that's now a good item?
I'm not sure. I think the 10 health from Rusted Barrel is not a particularly impressive change, but it is good against this Ivy. Ivy's so dependent on the fire rate with her tether, and then also just generally proccing things like Capacitor. So Rusted Barrel is going to be very helpful in taking down Skeletor. And probably we will see the Disarming Hex later on, because it's also good against the Mirage. So stopping him from going down. And yeah, that is an early tower, which is exactly what you want to see from this lane. About 5 minutes, it's just gone.
Oh my word, and they baited out the seismic impact as well. He had to use it to get out of there. He was just under the gun. I saw the Ivy on the other side also building Rusted Barrel, because against the McGinnis, you want to reduce their fire rate as well. So, okay, Rusted Barrel game, I'm here for it. Now, the battle in earnest. It's this mid tower, but it will be Mina Maku, the one to fall. The lasso finding the mark. The Moan Krill stepping forward, but maybe has to step back. The Sheriff is now putting the bars.
Yep, Ziggy is putting in the work here on Holiday. These ultimates come online, and that mid lane just really explodes, as everyone there has an ultimate that's pretty impactful. Red Creeper holding on to his, so the Mo combo's still available if they get an opportunity for that. But over here on the right side, they're about to push this Walker with Skeletor dead. Like, it's objective pressure. Again, so hard to stop. There's so much fire rate here.
Okay, so then what do? Do you have to rotate lanes? Do you have to say, okay, we're bringing other people over here, not the Abrams, we need somebody with faster fire? Do you bring the Mina, the Paradox? Like, what can you do to counter this?
Monster rounds is the most important item. You have to clear wave as soon as you can. And then also, yeah, you might need to see a rotation here come in from someone who's a little bit healthier to fight this. And just make sure that they're not completely free pushing you. Like, you need someone who's able to push back and take the fight before they can take your objectives.
Okay. I mean, they're winning the lane number 1 pretty heftily, so maybe you take the Warden and you push him over there, maybe the Mirage, because he can then teleport back if he's need to, but okay, yeah, and you got a kill, so that might be the release valve that they need. A good parry there on the Guardian, but they nerfed that where you send yourself back to base with the Guardian, so he's like, I'm thinking better of this, let me go back myself, but that could be the lane where we see a rotation. Once again, the fireworks unleashed in the mid lane. These two will never stop trading.
No, because the mode needs to be up close and personal to get the heals off with the Scorn, but of course that's right where the Mina wants you. You can get those easy bird stacks, and the combo comes in, but it's immediately answered by the Mina, and it just backfires onto Red Creeper there. It's so difficult for this Mo in the mid lane. That's why I feel like maybe you would have had a better time sending him off the side lane, but Holiday Lasso will come in and try and take a trade here onto the Paradox. Doesn't quite connect.
Yeah, no follow-up. The Mo is dead. You need a partner there, Sheriff. Like, who's your deputy, friend? The Mo, he's gone. But I saw 4 stacks on the Nox Noxia there because of the love bites. That's just a testament. That's almost 1 every 2 minutes there for this Mina in the mid lane. That is really strong, especially if you're scaling that ultimate, because if you're taking that 1v1 against the Infernus later.
The holidays, all about togetherness. Which is why Subway is bringing all your holiday favorites together in one bite. Seasoned stuffing and sweet cranberry sauce, oven-roasted turkey, rotisserie-style chicken, and the Turhamkin. Introducing Subway's festive flavors. It's togetherness in a sandwich. Hurry to Subway, because unlike your guests, these subs won't stay too long. Festive flavors for a limited time only. Subway, eat fresh, feel good.
When we come through, better get out the way, cause those luck up and he beat his taste. Clap. All I need is a beat. I can say anything on a song and it's still gonna slap.
You want to be able to silence him, hit him with every bat in the book before he can contact you. Okay, looking at the Infernus now, a little mixture of everything. Some vitality, some spirit, some gun. I mean, this is the man who can do it all. They're really going to need him to step up in this one.
Good headshots there onto the Abrams to bring him low. He's going to have to get out. You mentioned the Nox Nostra stacks. That's 4, so that's early game still for Mina, but keep in mind that she doesn't build those stacks until she unlocks the ultimate. So even though she got some love bite procs off earlier in the lane, those didn't build any stacks. So she's had far less than 8 minutes to build those up. So Ura doing the best that he can here. We're starting to see a brawl form on this right side. This is a chance for Toxic Positivity to finally get some lane shove back. 3v2.
And that's what we called for. This was what they needed. They needed another member. It's like the turrets are like the 3rd person here for the McGinnis, so they need somebody else, but that's exactly what they wanted. Being shredded here is the Paradox. The Stone Form is trying to lock him in place, and there's the Spectral Roll. I can't wait for the call, and that denies the Paradox the escape. They're chasing her down. One more shot will do it. There it is. Red Balls is able to find it. He takes him down. The Sheriff finds the wanted poster, but they're looking for more here. The McGinnis is bobbing and weaving and shooting and blasting. A few more in the chamber will do it, and down goes the police officer. 3 eliminated in lane number 3.
8,500 souls for this McGinnis. That is the most crucial thing that you can have in a McGinnis game. You know, if she doesn't get a good start, then she really falls off, and that's one of the biggest weaknesses of McGinnis. But if she has this strong start, she can really just be a nuisance here against these heroes. A good holiday lasso means that Paradox has stepped down to half, and so is this Walker. I have to bring 2 more back in here.
Oh my word! And was that 140 in the 126 in the chamber? Like, you just free fire for days. That didn't even matter how much the Warden was strafing in that previous fight. There's just too many bullets to dodge. This Lash, my friend, we talked about in the draft, trying to see what they can do here. This has to be the moment. There's the combo, goes into lockdown the Abrams. They can't find the elimination. The Lash just didn't know what to do. The ground slam, finally, they get the kill, but no combo stacks for the Mo and Krill.
No, not yet. They're just trying to get some pressure onto that left side Guardian while Toxic Positivity are overstacking the right. There's nobody in the mid lane to shove this, and so that's waves missed for both sides. Pair will finally go down here. Musi as well falling earlier. Toxic Positivity will finally trade this Guardian back. You had to bring 4 members in for that, and so Goomanity are going to get their own Guardian. They're going to also get, I think it was both of those buffs, so it's so many resources needed to commit there to fight off the Cage and the McGinnis. That's the strength of that early lane, but how they approach this mid game is going to be what really sets the tone for the rest of this game. Can Goomanity find the picks once they get out of this lane, or will Toxic Positivity just outscale?
And that was your question, right, in the draft. You're like, their mid game, it doesn't exist. I don't know. Well, we're about to find out, folks, and I'm here for it. The soul deficit, not really there. About 3,000, 4,000. That's not too bad, especially with your Walker pushed in, almost dead, basically. Had they gotten it, maybe a different story, but it's still alive here for now. So they'll be taking out troopers. They'll be able to maintain. It's about this Mo and Krill. The combo has to be good in this mid game. It's about, can they unlock him to rotate around the map? And this Lash, this has also been our question mark. He's got the Death Slam online, and he finds some purchase in this one. The Urn is picked up first here for Friends of Goomanity.
This is Goomanity trying to push that tempo that they need at this point in the game. Lash is one of the only teamfight ultimates available to these 2 teams right now. The Last Stand and the Mina Nox Nostra not available. So this is Goomanity's window here. If they can do something with the Urn, you see a slight advantage for Toxic Positivity, actually, as they have 5 members about to be here with the Abrams rotating, but then they have to commit the Infernus over to that left side to not lose Guardian, do Goomanity, while as Mirage can just teleport over as soon as the fight starts. So this could be a 6-on-5 for Toxic Positivity.
Ooh, okay. And this is, I believe, the first urn that we're going to see coming through right at the 10-minute mark. So this is an all-important one, especially, you want to excel some of your folks forward on here. I wonder if we could get a view of some of the items that we have, especially with Soren on here. So good at understanding what those characters are building. Okay, maybe not. Okay, we're just going to float through. I would love to see, we were talking about this, Soren, I think, adding some Death Slam artwork to some of these billboards. So be curious to see if that happens in the future, friend. I think it might.
Hey, good, but we're going to jump back into the game now, and this fight's starting to kick off. Abrams is a little late to it, but Mirage, of course, can TP whenever. Good wall.
Okay, and that's to block off the urn, and that will allow Mushi to secure it. Well done. That's a great coordinated effort from the side of the Amber Hand. Now they'll just be slicing and dicing, shooting all of the letters from the book. A great POV there, but now it's Mina's turn to dive on in. The Nox Nostra expended. The bats are looking for blood, and they are finding it. One goes down. That will be the page. Mina has to find one more. 2 more shots. No, the love bites do not burst in this one. The combo, though, on the other end from Red Creeper takes down the Skeletor. It is just a bloodbath here over the urn, and I expect nothing less.
Warden ult still comes in, though. This is still a fight. Pear gets caught. No wall available to help him. So he will go down just very quickly to that last stand. If you don't have the wall, you're really just caught out easily by something like that. And so Toxic Positivity will take the trade here. And despite the urn being turned in for Goomanity, it's about the same soul lead as we saw beforehand. So not a whole lot of advantage gained there for either side. I did sneak a look at some of these builds. Pear there, I believe, is just building the default Lightbringer build, which is understandable. I think it's one of the better ones available, but that means that they're going to have a lot of damage scaling into this mid-game around the same time that the rest of their CC comes online. You saw the Ivy there with the Healing Nova, a bit of an interesting pickup, probably an indication that we will see a more supportive Ivy rather than a big late scaling one, so they're going to be reliant on their Mina and some of these big team fight ultimates from the Warden to be able to close out some of these fights.
Yeah, and they got the damage, they got the Warden, they got the Mirage, even the Paradox can shoot a couple folks here and there, right? Not just an initiation bot. So, but I also love the pairing because the Ivy does have a lot of bullets in the clip. So you know, we saw how effective that tower push was early on in that one. But I love the call out there in some of those item builds. Now, we're in this mid game, we're in this neutral part, no urns online, no bridge buffs maybe in about another minute or so. It's about who has this better pick composition. You would think it'd be the friends of Goomanity. I know you said they had a not as best mid game. This is where I think they can really find purchase. Here's the Moan Krill going in the combo to lock down the Ivy. He's got to get the stack. He does. The great Skeletor turned into a pile of bones. They find the kill on the Ivy.
And they're continuing to go here. Just the combination of CC locked in. The Mo combo into the Lash Slam into the Holiday Lasso. That's exactly the kind of engagements that you need for Goomanity there. Just overloading that mid lane. And Moan Krill's still here. Just trying to make sure that they can't take their own farm.
Yeah, got to secure those Sinner Sacrifices, get you those little extra buffs. And Abrams versus Moan Krill, I feel like that's those two, they're just like wet noodles. They'll just like punch each other a little bit and then they'll walk away and it'll be fine. So a fine engagement here, but you get those 2 picks, friend. What are you going to roll into it? You secure 1 Sinner Sacrifice. I see now they're going for that invade in the left side jump.
Yeah, you've also got a bit of a split push here with the McGinnis. She could get caught out by the Ivy and the Abrams, though. She's not aware. Warden coming in as well.
Here's the fly drop, friend. Bombs from above, and the McGinnis is under duress. The stone form has to connect, and it does. And that is a kill on the pair. He's sliced up and done.
And that's the danger of split pushing so deep. You know, if you just get caught out, someone comes behind you, well, that's kind of it. Not a lot of mobility to get out on the McGinnis, unlike someone like Mirage or Wraith, who would normally be in that sort of split pushing spot.
Sure.
A couple of other interesting items that I've just seen while we're getting around here. It looks like we're seeing the gun page from Musi. A lot of more headshot oriented items there, like the weakening headshot. I do know that he's been experimenting with that, so very interesting. But also we're seeing the surge of power from this Abrams coming out, and that's going to give him a bit more ability to brawl like this.
Okay, and he wants to go up against this.
The holidays, all about togetherness. Which is why Subway is bringing all your holiday favorites together in one bite. Seasoned stuffing and sweet cranberry sauce, oven-roasted turkey, rotisserie-style chicken, and the Turhamkin. Introducing Subway's festive flavors. It's togetherness in a sandwich. Hurry to Subway, because unlike your guests, these subs won't stay too long. Festive flavors for a limited time only. Subway, eat fresh, feel good.
Good, it's your boy DDG, man. Y'all ready? Watch this.
When we come through, better get out the way, cause all locked up and it be his case. Clap, all I need is a beat. I can say anything on a song and it's still gonna slap.
Let's go! Alexa, I just crushed that round. Should we send Sherman the same Take This L gift again?
What about 1,000 tissue boxes? Check your Amazon cart.
So this is a must carve.
We're linking and building over here.
Hell yeah, Alexa.
Mo and Krill, but here's the spectral wall. Uh-oh, what's he gonna do now? The combo is in. They have to take down the detective, and they do. Well done from the McGinnis. It feels like one wall, one kill.
That's about the most effective rate that you can get for those walls. A lot of time in the engineering workshop paying off. So we're seeing, all right, this is Infernus doing his best work as well. The Mirage down to half HP. These afterburn stacks just too powerful. Paradox could trade this out though.
No, but not before the Afterburn does what they need to do. The Paradox will be on the hunt. Do they decide to chase it? No. They see some reinforcements in the wing, and it is the Mo and Krill. He's like, okay, time to go here, friend. Onto the Paradox, onto the Agent, and there goes Dalt into the dirt.
Unfortunate there, and that means that this is gonna be an earn for Friends of Goomanity. They're trying to also take this right walker, or at least make sure that the Holiday gets out alive. Flash comes in, doesn't have the Death Slam quite yet, and so he's just struggling to make any purchase in this fight. That is the Warden ult force though, and now Mina as well. A lot of key ultimates now down for Toxic Positivity. They're probably gonna get this left walker, and Holiday also sneaks out the right one.
I think be okay with that. Okay, you lose the lash, whatever. You take the walkers. You're getting the left one, the right one. You get the earn as well. Friend, we said they don't have a mid game, and they said, hey, we know something you don't. Oh, here's the mid game for you. They've been running away with it. Friends of Goomanity, they're up 17k in this one. Here's another wall. Will it be another kill? The police officer put in cuffs. The McGinnis put him on the board.
Yeah, this McGinnis 5,000 ahead. And, you know,
Jeez.
She typically struggles in those sorts of 1v1s, but not when you're that far ahead this early. So putting in a solid 1,000 souls per minute this early is right where you want to be. And a lot of important buys come in there, just trying to decide what exactly they want to go for here. On this Holiday, building more of a supportive role, not looking for that gun carry, as we suspected it could happen, but instead really building into this this pick-off potential here with the Veil Walker and the increased duration on that lasso. There's another wall. There's a lot of other people here.
Well, and I need to see another kill. The combo is available. If they can get... No, they don't even need it. They just blink forward and they destroy this Ivy. Oh, my word. Love to see it from the McGinnis here. Now it's like, what can they do? They lost a member. They might retreat off of this, but no, I'm hearing the sound of the seismic impact, but it might just be used for escape. Toxic Positivity, they're on the run.
But there's not a lot that you can do to siege this mid-walker as much as you want to from Friends of Goomanity. You know, you got the pick onto the most important wave staller on the enemy team, but the mid-walker is just so defensible, especially when you have enough people there, so they just have to back off and take a bunch of farm, but things are looking good for them. They've got an 18,000 soul lead, and this is their window. You know, you said that their CC and roamability is where they need to pop off with, and they're doing a good job of rotating and doing that. Red Creeper seems to be the initiation for them, and then, I mean, you see here, he's deep invading this, trying to get a combo onto someone, but there's no one from his team there to help him yet. They're coming in now.
What the heck? This guy is on a Rambo mission. The wall has to be used defensively? Okay, here, the curtain dropped, and the Mo's like, I'm going back in. McGinnis says, no, don't do that. Gotta run away. I think the Mo and Krill maybe overstepped. Red Creeper turned into mush there. Unfortunate coordination. McGinnis tried to help him out. Nothing happening, but Infernus, he's taking this 1v1. We talked about it in the draft. Infernus versus the world. You take Infernus every time.
And something we haven't really touched on yet is that left side Guardian is still up for Friends of Goomanity. Toxic Positivity tried to make something happen while the mid lane was occupied and go for that two-man push onto the Guardian, but it doesn't work out, and so Toxic Positivity are still without a flex slot.
That's a lot. Look, 6,000... No, that's other team. Sorry, but he has 6,000 souls in the pocket. That's a lot. But yeah, Toxic Positivity, they have so many souls to spend, and they can't power spike the way that they need to. They have to make a coordinated effort. Mina on the run. That's that 1v1 we were talking about. And Mina's like, I don't want any part of that. But Soren, What can they do? This Guardian, it's got to go down.
They're bringing absolutely everyone to this. You see 5 members there, and Goomanity aren't really responding on the other lanes. You know, they've got 3 people in this right side lane where there's nothing to take. And it looks like we might see a deep dive here from Pear going for the Guardians, but speaking of Guardians, that is that one finally going down. So Toxic Positivity with a kill to go along with that are now going to start to take some of the tempo back, but they need a bit more. They're going to go for this urn, which should be favored for them.
Hey, that's good. And sometimes you have to make those tactful trades. You're like, oh, I got to give up my knight just to get the pawn, but the pawn will open up the queen later down the line. So sometimes you have to have that foresight and make those sacrifices and be okay with it. So they lose some, they gain a little bit. Turn now. This is going to be a crucial turn in to close that deficit now that has ballooned here to 16,000. It's going to be crucial. I mean, the Ivy, though, is that the one you want it? Maybe the Warden, because he's dead. He won't be able to turn it in either.
No, this is just going to be an urn for a Walker trade. Toxic Positivity don't want to fight that, because it means that they could get rotated on for the urn and lose both at the same time. So, Goomanity now, after making that trade, are up 2 flex slots once again. That means Toxic Positivity are going to find a tough way to be able to spend their souls here. They're looking for a fight on the McGinnis, but so many members of Goomanity behind them.
Yeah, that's like a good strategy, right? We know the McGinnis needs to be in the backline. The Silence Wave on the Mina to keep her grounded. The Nox Nostra has already been expended, so that cooldown cannot be used. She just has to turn, tail, and run. But look at this, a full group up, a gold mob here in the mid lane. This Walker, he is in their crosshairs.
Yeah, but this isn't the kind of comp that you want to take a team fight like that. Even with Makura's Nox Nostra down, you've still got the last stand from Wires on Toxic Positivity, and we said that they're the ones who want these big 6v6 team fights. Goomanity would prefer to look for a pick first, so they're going to go for this jungle instead, and just hope that they can either catch someone out trying to answer that, or get away with some free souls.
Free souls is always good. When you have the advantage, you might as well press it and keep the other team locked in the base, right? They don't have the flex slots to spend the souls, and that's okay. You don't need them. We'll take them instead. But you're right. Yeah, where can they find the pick? This Warden, though, he's been pushing this lane a little bit. Holiday looking. Friend, I think that means we have some time to check some items.
Yeah, you see the Warden here. Again, with that Surge of Power, I'd love to see what that's on exactly. The McGinnis, yeah, this is definitely Lightbringer with a quick Quicksilver reload thrown in there as well instead of the active reload.
Nice.
Looks like we're seeing, again, that supportive Holiday going for the picks as well as mostly what you would expect from Toxic Positivity. Makura starting to really scale at 25,000. Not the White as well on the Mirage, doing a really good job of staying on top of these souls. But here comes the Holiday lasso, and it's going to miss. That means that this Mina is going to be harder to catch. They've got a lot of tools for it.
And there's the captive read. She's making sure the textbook is firmly in front of this Mina, but she is gliding her way, using the umbrella so tactfully, so slippery is the Vampire S, but now she goes back into the battle and calls Red Ball's number. They are the first to be eliminated in this scuffle. The Walker is helping out here, and Tim Babs is the one to go down next. This Lash, though, how are they engaging in this fight? They have to find the right way to do it.
Yeah, and you see it didn't happen there. Abrams went down well enough without it, but then the rest of Toxic Positivity are starting to respond, and this is where Lash is going to struggle because there's so much cover for them here. And he can't find the right engage, and instead it's Moosey who gets collapsed on and will be quickly burnt down. A bit of an early counterspell there, but the Nox Nostra comes out, rather, and is starting to burn down this Mo. You're seeing a lot of silence waves in this game, and that's really starting to catch on in the meta. Such an annoying item for everyone here, and that'll be 3 kills going the way of Toxic Positivity. They're also pushing that right side Walker and could go mid if they decide to be aggressive.
Okay, and I think they might, Friend. I mean, this is exactly what they wanted. They knew that Friends of Goomanity wanted this kind of pick composition. Friends of Goomanity was like, well, we're in the driver's seat. Maybe let's push the issue. They try, but the superior team fight ability of Toxic Positivity, wins the day. And they're able to, get a couple kills. And now the mid boss, this one, inching closer and closer to the neutral. Here's the contest that does come in. Can anybody steal it? There's one from Red Balls, but they might get their life expended for it. A great death slam and a great ground slam from the side of the Lash. He's locking everybody up. Another silence wave to keep the Lash in place. He does use a Rejuve Crystal. Great steal from him. Finally, the Ivy is fly dropping, finds one. This is a chaotic fight in the pit. So many members going down. There goes Dwalt. The Ivy slams into the dirt, stuns up a couple. Oh my goodness, chaos here in the pit.
this is the kind of situation where the Mirage is really going to start to take over, because you see all of the rest of these heroes have some sort of really important ability that they don't want to fight without. Mirage, he's happy to just keep it there and pump in those bullets, and with the Infernus out of the fight, that means that Goomanity really just have to back off, but they've found Abrams out of position, the rest of his team not there to support him, and with all of those rejuve crystals.
Subway's got a new meal of the day, with a deal on a different sub every day of the week. Fresh baked bread, fresh sliced meat, fresh chopped veggies, vinaigrette, plus chips and a drink. You've got the perfect lunch at the perfect price. Your coworker went with the $17 salad. Get it together, Stan. Find your fresh with the all-new $6.99 meal of the day at Subway. Or make it a foot long for just $3 more.
When we come through, better get out the way, cause those luck stuff and he beat his taste. Clap. All I need is a beat. I can say anything on a song and it's still gonna slap.
Oh, hold up. Time to lock in. Yo, Alexa, remind me of my winning streak.
You haven't dropped around in 2 weeks.
Let's go! Alexa, I just crushed that round.
I knew you had it in the bag. You are goated with the sauce, Phase Rug.
Should we send Sherman the same take this L gift again?
What about 1,000 tissue boxes this time? Check your Amazon cart.
Yo, I'm dead. This is a must cop.
We're linking and building over here.
Hell yeah, Alexa.
Down, he's not long for this world.
Uh-oh, yeah, good shoulder charge, just kind of maybe delaying the inevitable no combo stack on that easy target. But is that the Mina I saw? Is she joining the fight? Yes, she's avenging her fallen friend. Finds a rebuttal kill on the McGinnis. Well done there, as this fight just continues to extend. Nut, he takes down another. He's on a 3K kill streak.
Wires comes back into the last stand, and that's just, I mean, you've already lost the fight there for Goomanity. They stay long trying to catch the Abrams, but Positivity are still around, and so they just turn right back around and catch 2 more. So that's even more souls gone the way of Toxic Positivity. They've evened things up now and are the ones with the tempo. They can start to push these walkers. They can start to grab the urn and the rest of this farm. So things maybe starting to swing around for this later game comp here from Toxic Positivity. A couple important buys coming out. The Merc Mag means that Mirage is never going to run out of bullets. And Eyewires, I believe that was the Vampiric Burst, means that he's got some good gun damage in addition to that utility from the last stand.
Wow, I mean, all it takes is one misstep, one miscalculation, and if the other team is capable enough, they'll punish you for it, especially at this level of play where we're at. Where this is the lower bracket finals, folks, lest we forget. So these teams, very, very good. A good paradoxical swap there from the Paradox, trying to keep the Lash in place. He's using the Death Slam and is able to find a death with that one. Abrams is overextended here, and they chase him down. Do they want to chase him down is the question. The 1v1 battle, the Infernus versus the Mirage one, you see in the highlight reels. Looks like he'll just push Nut away. He won't be chasing him, but that's because they found another juicier target to get, and that is the Warden. The police officer burnt to a crisp. 2 down the side of Toxic Positivity.
This Infernus is putting in the work. We saw earlier the Mirage starting to take over a fight. This is another one where Infernus does it. The same thing here. He doesn't really need a ton of his cooldowns, and so he's just kind of cleaning up this fight. Toxic Positivity maybe just stayed too long. They were trying to get the Lash, who stayed in there trying to find a pick onto that Paradox, and he was able to do so. And so you just kind of trade out the Lash, who's already used his ultimate and a lot of his cooldowns, for 4 members of Toxic Positivity there. And there goes all of that tempo that I just said you built up.
And like we talked about, one misstep, the other team can capitalize if they're good enough, and especially with this pushing McGinnis on your team unlocks the last flex spot by taking those base Guardians. Those things were gone in a blink of an eye. Now they're sieging the base, but do they want to? There's still a couple members still available. The Spectral Wall, no, that blocked his own member in. Okay, looking good here, but it's a 2v2 in earnest, but I think the Amber Hand is going to retreat. The Infernus might not be long for this world. That's going to be the primary target, and Messi does go down. Max.
Yeah, they've just pushed a little too far here. They were trying to make space, maybe even get a cheeky shrine in, but it was, you're in the enemy's base, and you've got 3 members of your team trying to deliver the urn, 4 even. So just overstaying there from Pear and Mace Dog. But you are going to have to be careful now for the entire rest of the game for Toxic Positivity, because now that a lot of your objectives are gone, you have to keep a close eye on your waves, lest this McGinnis push in and just force the objectives. Really is the core strength of this hero, is being able to push and say, I don't care about your damage, I have 4% max health healing per second and a lot of damage onto your objectives, so they will die first. So you have to be able to keep these waves out to make sure that she can't just dive without abandon.
And do you think that they might just kind of send her and just like, all right, take down this structure, and if you die, that's okay. We're going to do other stuff around the map, and you're going to pull a lot of pressure, and then when she comes back up, they just send her down the lane again. Do you think it'll be that kind of strategy, or do you think they're going to be a little bit more tactful about how they use this McGinnis?
I'm going to pull out some deep lore here. Anyone who remembers 424134? This was all the way back before Ranked was introduced. They would do this on McGinnis. Just in 4 lanes, you'd go down a lane, pick one, and dive it non-stop the entire game. 13 deaths doesn't matter, I killed your patron. So that used to be a strategy, but especially since the 3-lane change, that's not as viable. There's fewer lanes to defend, and the enemy can keep the wave pushed up a bit better, rotate a bit easier. So they are going to have to be tactical with how they use this McGinnis split-pushing abilities, but it means that they don't necessarily have to take a team fight, which is where we said Toxic Positivity would excel. So the Merc Mag now picked up for Pear as well. An upgrade to that earlier Quicksilver reload means some additional spirit damage and just a lot of procs off of each of these bullet hits. I wouldn't hate to see something like plated armor from Toxic Positivity, although I'm not even sure if that works on Mercurial Magnum. Maybe someone in the chat can correct me on that. This Mo, though, the engage button for Friends of Goomanity with that Scourge, he's so hard to kill. And then Babbage is just trying to keep up with a lot of these melee-oriented items, but 2 and 8, he's kind of struggling here so far, and it's Nut the White at 7 and 1 who's putting in a lot of the work for Toxic Positivity along with this Mina.
And that's who you want to have that, right? Those are the guys that are supposed to be your carries. So the one that they're having the kills on the board, that's good. And Mina having the bulk of that spirit damage that I was looking for. So good to see that in the build. Now it's about, okay, do they find these fights in earnest? And that will be the Abrams going in. He's charging forward, but he's getting sliced up like a sandwich. The Nox Nostra, though, silencing everybody. The Bats just hunting down the enemies of the Vampiress. A 10k kill streak there from Akura. He is the leading kill leader in the league. It only makes sense. He's putting more on the board.
And it's an important time to be doing so as well. That one pick means that you're going to have some time here to answer these waves. Maybe even take a walker of your own if you can catch a little more. The Page is caught out. Abrams is right on top of you. It doesn't matter if he stays as long as you do as well. So, and Furnace Fee Barrage is now happening in the Toxic Positivity base. They're going to have to send someone else back to answer that.
Well, oh yeah, look at that. There's a huge wave as well. The Infernus, he wins the 1v1. We didn't talk about that during the draft. Maybe we should have. And there goes a Shrine. One eliminated. The sneaky play from the Infernus. He's in, he's out.
Yeah, he's going to get caught, though. He's going to die for it. But so will Babbage, as they've kind of abandoned him here on this mid lane. So a 1-for-1 trade, and that means that while Toxic Positivity are still up, they don't have enough members to really go for anything here. They've lost the wave pressure as well. And so despite being 1-up, they're going to lose both these bridge buffs to the Friends of Goomanity, who can also choose to take the urn if they want. They might not deliver it, but at least take control of it.
For sure. And my friend, look at the soul disparity. It's only, what, 1k? Probably, it's probably so close, right? This has been such a back and forth affair, and I love to see it. These games have been so close. It's just shows the parity that we have across the league and how this tournament has really worked out, right? It matched up the teams well. Now it's about, do you make a mistake? Or do you play so well that you can outplay your opponent? That's almost where it's about to come down to, as we're reaching this 40k soul mark. That's basically the maximum. We're seeing it on Infernus. We're about to see it on Mirage. Mina has it. I mean, this is the late game.
Yeah, past 30 minutes, any sort of death means that the team can go for mid-boss. You could even go for it without any deaths here. Toxic Positivity choose to coin flip this.
Okay, they're trying to sneak it, and they're trying to sneak it quick. A couple ultimates on the board, but no Death Slam. Most importantly for Goomanity, they go dash in with the Burrow, with the Scorn, but now he is locked in place. The Spectral Wall to split the fight, but it doesn't even matter. The Rejuve is going every single way. The Corn Flip indeed. The Nox Nostra, though, battering into everybody. There's the Death Slam. It's
Big slam.
Oh my God! Locks everybody up and locks everybody down. All the crystals expended. The combo just on tail end to take down the Warden, but still he makes it away with a sliver of HP. This is total chaos in the pit. Red Creeper is the one to go down, the first to fall in this one. 11 kills. kills for the Mina still. She battles onward. Finally, a stop to the slaughter for the Vampiress and the Friends of Humanity, turning their friends into enemies in this fight still. We're raging forward. The one final Stone Slam to get a couple people into place. The Paradox shooting their way through. My goodness, the Mirage. Can he deadlift this? He gets one. He's looking for two. The McGinnis is dangerously low. A good Spectral Wall using defense this time. My goodness.
What a fight here from these teams. Goomanity will escape. It looks like one ahead. As long as this Holiday doesn't go down, she's been kind of caught out.
What's good? It's your boy DDG, man. Y'all ready? Watch this.
When we come through, better get out the way, cause all locked up in the beat his case. Clap. All I need is a beat. I can say anything on a song and it's still gonna slap.
Is this real, or has this been happening inside my head?
Of course it is happening inside your head, Harry. But why on earth should that mean that it is not real?
Are you really Harry Potter?
Harry Potter, our new celebrity.
Harry, you're a great wizard, you know.
Harry Potter, the boy who lived.
Harry Potter, like you've never heard it before. The full cast audio editions. Listen on Audible.
You're working on a project so huge, it'll take years to implement even a simple change. Junie reads and understands your project, files, and guidelines, not just your prompts. Tackle ever-growing code with confidence. Junie, a coding agent built for real work.
But you've got an Infernus at your base, so Positivity need to run back as fast as they can. And it's a great try there from Toxic Positivity. They recognize that the Death Slam isn't there, but it comes in just at the tail end of that fight and really turns things around for Goomanity. And this Infernus is now at 46,000. He's just completely in your base. The Holiday Lasso as well means that Toxic Positivity are now down to just one player. And this late in the game, these respawn timers are very long. Goomanity could look to end here and just force things with the McGinnis.
Oh my word. Yeah, the McGinnis, she's charging forward, having both of those in the pit. Oh, even the respawns, getting hacked. No, come on, finish this match. No, they don't think they can
there's
do
too
it,
much coming
friend.
up for Toxic Positivity. 4 members.
Oh, yeah, and too many ultimates, especially the Nox Nostra coming online. Okay, they do the smart play, they do the careful play, they back up. The urn is available. Do that, extend the lead even further.
They could do it. They've got that Lash ultimate back up. They're just missing really like the Page ultimate. It can be important for some of those fights, but they choose not to. They're just slurping up some of this farm here and really doing it mostly on their side there. Maybe a slight inefficiency, not staying on the opponent's side of the map to take their farm, but that's okay. They're still ahead by just a little bit, but those leads this late in the game won't mean a whole lot, so this game is really going to come down to the next fight. Toxic Positivity, no safety lines left. If they lose one, they are out of this game, but of course, this is a best of 3. Meanwhile, Friends of Goomanity still have 2 walkers, so they've done a really impressive job of keeping on top of these objectives this game.
But do you think if they lose a fight, is it game over as well, even with the walkers still intact? I mean, hopefully we don't find out, or maybe we do if you are a Toxic Positivity fans, and it's Mushi who is the first to get picked off in this one. Uh-oh, that's one down for 70 seconds.
I think with the mid-boss gone down, Goomanity do have a little bit of room to breathe, especially with how well they've been keeping the wave shoved up as well. Yes, one pick is going to hurt here. Even a lost team fight would mean a lot of lost ground, but you have enough time. It takes, those minions aren't super fast. They take time to push up into the base and get rid of those resistances, so I think you could afford one lost fight here if you're Goomanity, but, I mean, that's it. If you lose in more of a staggered fashion and have members just die one after another, you may not get a chance to come back from that. So it's important for Goomanity, if they die, to die quickly, and they need to choose now if they're going to contest this urn or let Toxic Positivity climb back to parity.
It looks like, friend, they're going to give it up. I don't think anybody's moving over to contest. They now setting up turrets, no wall, no mole to kind of scout it out. They're just letting the Ivy run it over to the end line, and yep, she scores it.
Mirage gets caught here. Not the White trying to teleport away, but doesn't get it in time. And look at these waves for Friends of Goomanity. They've got the mid lane, they've got the left lane. And Furnace looks like he's signaling for the team to walk back, but there's still 4 members here. This is what I mean about having to be so careful with your Toxic Positivity. They got the urn, yes, but they came scarily close to losing the game from it.
Yeah, maybe a game deciding call to go back and get a final item or something. But now it looks like Friends of Humanity are knocking on the door, the fly drop, just to retreat back to the base, get maybe one final purchase in, and this is where the final stand will have to come through. Oh, the siege, it is on. I hope everyone's got their tents and their canteens ready. They're ready to storm the base now. Friend, I'm waiting for it. The ultimate's all available for Friends of Humanity. They're going for the weakened patron. That's the primary target. From above, from below, the Death Slam scoops up. Everybody slams him into the dirt once more. A massive clippable play from the Lash. We denied him, and now we are praising him. And Sung causes the victory. GG's in the chat.
Pair. Anyone from the last season of the Death Slam League will remember that meme, but Pear with a fantastic showing on the McGinnis, showing exactly why she's still at least viable in some circumstances. Goomanity did an excellent job of playing around that, forcing the objectives when they could. Of course, pairing the page with that in lane just meant it was so difficult for Toxic Positivity. But there at the end, you saw again how just the pressure from this McGinnis being able to kill an objective faster than she dies was the go button there. And it was a fantastic game plan as well. You saw the Lash hiding in the back. So the Infernus and the McGinnis walked in with page barriers and started shooting the patron. And then as soon as Toxic Positivity came in to contest, it was the re-engage from the Lash, scooping everybody up. An excellent, well-planned fight plan from Friends of Goomanity, and that'll win them game 1.
Okay. That was the McGinnis X factor in that one. Just kind of put a misstep, put a little stick in the wheel of the bicycle for the side of Toxic Positivity. But now it's their turn to bring out their weapon X, especially with their back against the wall. Is it that pocket they could bring out? We will have to find out. But first, we need to head to a break. Maybe.
Well,
we're looking at the scoreboard. Okay, we didn't do that
do.
last game. My bad. You and me, you know. Okay, Fred, looking at the scoreboard, and I almost am tasting Skittles because I'm seeing the rainbow here just about for the Mace Dog.
Yeah, that's the scoreline that you want to see from a carry like this. I'm sad to not see the McGinnis to get top objective damage, but Mace Dog was also putting in the work. A fantastic performance from him. He was really the turner in a lot of these team fights. The one big one that we saw Friends of Goomanity lose was because Mace Dog was picked relatively early. So when he was in those team fights, he was just so strong. The Infernus not losing a whole lot of ground from the recent patch. So topping everything except the assists. And that was Dalt with a good performance on the Paradox as well, initiating a lot of those big fights for Toxic Positivity. Maku, 11-2, and Not the White, 10-3, both with excellent performances, but just not quite enough. I feel like it was really the Abrams and the Ivy, we didn't see enough from them that game. They weren't able to have a big impact, and you see that reflected in the deaths as well, 10 and 8 respectively for the Abrams and the Ivy. Just the targets of so many of these picks that were so costly, and really the game plan for Friends of Goomanity. It went a bit later than I expected Goomanity would allow it, but they were able to pull it out in the end.
Absolutely, and I think it's because they were caught unawares, basically. Like, that lane was up against McGinnis, right? So they lost a lot of their early game prowess with their scalability because of that. And when Abrams is behind, it doesn't feel good. And then you're just like, well, can I seismic impact in here? Maybe I gotta try. And then you do, and then you did. So very tough there in the end for these squads. We do have a replay, which is created by Metal, which I love to see here. You and me, our producer on the back end, popping this one up for us. Soren, was there a play or a battle or a fight that you most enjoyed in this match? Because there were sure a ton of them.
I mean, I loved seeing the Paige McGinnis lane just because I know how euphoric that feels as the McGinnis player. But there wasn't really one crucial fight to this entire game. You know, it was long enough that there were multiple good ones for each team. It was just Goomanity constantly playing better around the rotations. Their macro game was superb this time. You know, they knew when to go for these walkers, when to split push effectively, when one player would be caught out in the jungle while the rest of Toxic Positivity was elsewhere. I said in the draft that they were playing for this sort of pick style, and they played it really well. Toxic Positivity maybe need to just be a little more vocal in the comms, figure out where the enemy are on the map, and make sure that you're rotating to the weak players for game 2.
Fair enough. Okay, now my eye in the sky, he's telling me we could go to a break. Get your food, get your snacks, get your water, stay hydrated. We'll see you on the other side.
Yeah, we've been
Oof. Oh, hello! Welcome back, Deadlock fans. It's HD Philly B, it's Soren Markov, and we are here in the Death Slam League NA Season 2 Division 2 lower bracket finals. we need to get a like a banner for that, just like pop it right there on the screen. But my word, what an electric bout that game one was. A real tug of war between these two squads. I'm ready for game number 2.
Yeah, we've been treated to some excellent Deadlock today. I wasn't here for all of the earlier match, but that one seemed like a real back and forth match. You know, it went to 3 maps and every game was over 30 minutes. I'm sure that you're feeling that after that, but this is, it's exciting to get to watch people, play Deadlock this closely. These teams seem really well suited to each other, and I love that we're starting to see some less meta strategies come out as well in this Division 2 with the Lash, the McGinnis on the other side, the support Ivy, and like the Surge of Power Abrams. We're seeing some really exciting Deadlock here. It's not at all exhausting to watch.
I'm definitely here for it. I'm jazzed up. I'm energized to keep it going, and I hope you are too, folks, because we've got the rest of this series and then the grand finals for Division 1 to be here on the Deathy stream. So plenty of more action for you as we make our way through this Sunday evening. Soren, I mean, you talked about it, a little bit of unorthodox composition from Friends of Goomanity. So if you're toxic positivity in this huddle in between games, you're like, what do we ban? Do we go for the same bans? Like, what do you think they're even talking about there in order to get ready for game 2?
You could definitely think about banning out the McGinnis, but it's kind of questionable if that's even worth it. We know that Pear likes that hero and is more comfortable on it than a lot of other things, and there's always this debate of like, at what level does it become worth it to ban the meta versus banning comfort heroes? And I think Toxic Positivity could learn a bit from that and just kind of go for heroes that, they're good on. We saw them pick some pretty meta stock standard heroes, but then maybe just not the most comfortable performance out of something like the Abrams or the Ivy. So I think they could learn a bit from Friends of Goomanity and come back and just play their own game, play what you're used to.
So does Comfort win championships? Does CC win championships? I mean, there's so many different takes from that regard. It might be a little bit of mixture of both. If your character has CC and you're comfortable on it, then you're an X-tier winner. Like, I love to see it. Well, I'm hearing from the eye in the sky that the draft is ready. Time for those P's and B's we love so very, very much. This time, Toxic Positivity will be the ones to first ban. I believe Yamato was the first off the board last time. Will it be the assassin once again? Nope, it's the Calvin.
Well, this is what they banned out last time. Last time they were the second bans, and Friends of Goomanity forced them to ban the Kelvin pretty much. But as you were saying, there's so much complexity that goes into these drafts, and it just depends what level you're on. At the very highest level of play, where everyone can play every hero pretty much, you're thinking a lot about what the generic strongest heroes are. But as good as these players are, and as good as a show as we're getting treated to here, this is not the professional players. These are people who, go to work 40 hours a week and have to come back and sit down and play some Deadlock with their friends. So these people don't have infinite time in the world. They will have characters that they're more comfortable on than others. And Goomanity, despite having such a good performance on it, will ban out the Infernus here. So no first pick for Toxic Positivity there.
I've been waiting for this. I've been waiting for that because this bartender has just been too good. Also, I think his ultimate should be called the Concussive Cocktail instead of Concussion Combustion. 1, because that's harder to say, and 2, I like it. He's a bartender. Let's make a cocktail, right? Whatever. That's a different point. Toxic Positivity open up with the Mina once again. I mean, Akura was getting a lot of kills on there, but it didn't seem like they were just like one-off picks and stuff like that. But I don't know. A good mixture. How are you with that opening?
Yeah, that's the difference between someone like a Mina and the Infernus. The Infernus will have continuing value as the fight goes on, not reliant on any one cooldown, but Mina, has to use that ult a lot of the time. And while she's got decent poke with the bats and the Love Bite procs, once she's used that ultimate, that's kind of her big engagement down. So it did work out very well for Toxic Positivity. He had a great game, but just not able to close out a lot of these close team fights. And Goomanity are going to first pick the Abrams, which is an interesting one. That Toxic Positivity had it last game, but it seems Goomanity want to bring it back on their side.
I love it. Super cringe. I'm an Abrams fan. I like Abrams. I like Moan Krill. I'm like the support tank initiator guy. Like, that's because I die too easy, so I need the guys with a little bit more beef to, help me because I'm bad. But I like Abrams. Play me, chat. I don't care. It's about how they're going to pair it now. I know yesterday I was watching, there's tons of deadlock happening all over the scene. I'm seeing a lot of Vindicta actually come back. And, that's one of my favorite pairings in the game. Right now we're seeing Age paired up here. So still some question marks for friends of Goomanity. If you're Toxic Positivity, what are you looking for now?
I gotta think that this is Goomanity taking the advice that I just said, right? That Paige Abrams is not a typical start that you'd see from a lot of teams, but we saw a pretty good performance from Musi on the Page. A couple of unnecessary deaths, but plenty of times where they were really contributing in these fights and letting their carries pop off. So Toxic Positivity now can respond really however they'd like. A lot of the meta picks are still available to them, so whatever they're comfortable with in the meta is still available. And they think that that's the Moan Krill, so a bit of a swap of tanks here, where Moan Krill has a bit more pick potential. Abrams has more utility in a team fight with the amount of CC that he has available to him. I'd love to see this paired with something that can stay relevant a bit later in the game for Toxic Positivity. Pocket, still available here, a hero we highlighted earlier that didn't get picked. Someone we could maybe see like a Paradox still come in here. Of course, had a good performance on that last game. Or just a more supportive character. But we're going to see the Lash this time. That's two sort of first half picks for the Lash showing up in this game so far.
Very, very interesting. I'm trying to check my notes here to see if there's any, Lash player on really either of these teams. Not really too much. So, okay, this is another kind of sneaky pick here for Toxic Positivity, an initiator kind of guy. So that means the bans are really open. Okay, they respond with the holiday, so another type of initiator, snatch and grab. But now it's about, okay, the bans. What are you looking for? Do we ban out another support? Do we ban out a carry? I mean, maybe the Friends of Goomanity ban out a support because Toxic Positivity doesn't really have too many.
No, but there's not a whole lot of heroes who are really good, like, hard supports in the game right now. It's really just the Page and Kelvin, and with both those off the board, you could look for someone who's got a bit more utility, but you could also go for the Mirage, which we saw Toxic Positivity do so well with last game. And you want to make sure that your ban has impact and not ban away something that they weren't going to pick in the first place. But yeah, Pocket's still available here, and honestly, that would probably be my go-to if I'm Goomanity here.
Okay, well, they go with the Warden. I like that too. Warden, very capable. A lot of people know how to play him. The ultimate is very good. We saw how impactful that was in a lot of those mid-boss fights in that previous game, so makes sense. But now, Toxic.
I think Abby might be in danger.
Oh no. There's no way that'll work.
Clasifica la PG-13.
Wingstop lemon pepper all flats?
Lemon pepper all flats.
Lemon pepper wings.
Tastes so good.
Wingstop lemon pepper all flats for Blake?
Seriously?
Wingstop's here.
Hey Meta, film this.
Dress rehearsal in 5 minutes.
Hey Meta, stop filming.
New Balance, we got now.
Positivity, they have the chance to ban the Pocket. If Pocket is not banned, chat, somebody's got to pick him. I need to see him at least once in one of these games. Please let me see the Pocket. I need it. It is the McGinnis. So they fall into the trap here, Soren, banning out the Engineer.
Yeah, that's, you know, it's mixed feelings there because you've banned out one of your comfort heroes for pair, but it's also they're not using that on a stronger hero like the Pocket. So still plenty of options available to you for Goomanity. I'd love to see where they're going with this draft because once again, like before, they don't really have someone who does a lot of damage in this draft, but this time they don't even have the Infernus, who really was their crutch for all of the late game damage here. So it looks like that's going to be the Wraith this time, probably the second best option in the game right now. Not picked last time, but as a replacement for the Infernus, that's about the best you'll get.
And that's what I was gonna say. I think that's probably what you'll do. But on toxic positivity side now, the carry is kind of been dwindled down. I mean, you have the Mirage, you have the 7, potentially. Do I dare say Vindicta, right? I don't know. There's some potential there. There's some characters, but it will be the Haze. Now, is this can't be utility Haze. They already have too much utility with the Moan Krill, the Lash. This has got to be full-on carry Haze?
It's possible. I'm not sure that I would like going that route. I think that this Haze, we've seen her paired a lot with the Moan Krill as sort of a roaming pick duo. And I think that's where she performs best right now. If you can get a Sleep Dagger, then it's a free Mo combo, and Haze has the damage to be able to finish you off. So I like that as a good answer to what Goomanity were doing, getting active in the jungle. This is just, something to keep you on your toes if you're trying to do that again. But yeah, they are missing that hard carry slot unless they're just relying on their Mina here. So we'll go with the Ivy again. Frankly, if they go support Ivy again, I feel like that's a mistake. As you said, they've got a lot of utility in their draft already. Ivy is more than capable of being a gun carry in this meta right now, and especially the Capacitor will help with the page barriers, which were such a problem for them last time. So I'd love to see them switch it up a bit with this Ivy build.
Yeah, but is it also comfort? Maybe the Skeletor is really just like, I only play Ivy, guys. Like, we gotta deal with it. So, I mean, okay, then you make sure you gotta put Ivy in the draft. So, we'll see. Still some mix-ups here in terms of what they are banning and picking, which is one of the best things about Deadlock. Even you pick a character, you can run them support, you can run them gun carry. It just depends on how you build them and who else you combo with them. On the other side, though, the Friends of Goomanity, they've got some carry, they've got some initiate, they've got some frontline, they've got some support. It's the GT. Okay, we're seeing the Archer.
All right, that's an interesting pickup because I'm not really sure where this is aimed at. I suppose you could put it in mid against someone like the Mina. You know, GT is really good at staying back and then poking out squishier heroes who don't have the ability to engage very closely. So we could see him aimed at like the Lash or the Mina. Of course, going to struggle a little bit more against the Moan Krill or the Haze. But if he gets his right matchups, I can see it working out. But yeah, this is definitely Goomanity preferring comfort over specific anti-picks, right? So they've still got one pick left to them. I'm excited to see what they do with it.
And the curtain will be unveiled shortly, but I like the GT. That's a good mix of the spirit damage that he can, pump out. So, nothing wrong with that. Or maybe you use the Owl to kind of scout out where the Haze might be or the Moan Krill, see where they're trying to flank you from. You can use that sort of utility. So don't mind it at all. We'll see what they pair with it. And it is the Dynamo. The Professor makes his way to the Curse Apple. Oh, wow.
Yeah, we're seeing Goomanity really show us that the meta is not as dominant as it might have thought to be. So yeah, some pretty unusual picks here, but they showed us last time that they can make it work, right? Pair not going to be on the McGinnis this time, but probably going to pick up something else that's in his wheelhouse. We're going to have to see this Wraith put on a big performance, I think, even more than last time. They are down that sort of secondary carry. We've seen a couple of gun dynamos. I wouldn't hate to see that here, especially because I think the Black Hole is not going to find a whole lot of value against this Toxic Positivity squad. But other than the Wraith, you don't have a lot of damage, so she needs to have a big game more than anybody in this draft, I think.
Is there a world where Page is a gun carry? You go gun Page?
I don't think gun carry, but we did see Moosey pick up some gun items like the weakening headshot that were a bit more support focused. So that's an aspect of Page that hasn't been explored by a lot of teams, but I do know that Moosey's been testing it, and so he's familiar with those sorts of builds and likes them, so we probably will see more gun items. I just don't know about gun carry.
Fair enough. Well, round us out here is Billy. A little bit more initiation, a little bit more front line here. Rock and roll goat. All right. This is great. I'm loving these drafts coming out. You have some questions about the Friends of Goomanity. I want to talk about toxic positivity for a little bit. What is their win condition here, friend? Is it this? It looks more of like this pick composition as they're roaming around the map.
I think they have a lot of the same win conditions as Goomanity did last time. You've got the roaming duo of the Haze and Moan Krill that can just find pickoffs out of nowhere. And then you've got a whole lot of CC as well to be able to follow up on that. You've got the Lash ults, the Billy ults to drag people into one place, and then Mina to chunk them down afterwards. So, again, they've got really one primary carry here, assuming that they don't go for the more gun DPS Ivy in the Mina. And she needs to be the one who's doing a lot of the damage in these team fights. But other than that, you're roaming around in that post-laning phase, just trying to find pickoffs into small objectives that you can take, and just kind of take these little incremental advantages that snowball into a bigger lead, such as Goomanity did last time. But it's a tenuous draft for both of these teams. I think we're going to see some players out of their comfort zone and maybe, struggling to find certain things in their composition, and it's going to be, a back and forth about how they play around the weaknesses of these drafts.
They both look pretty hard to execute, right? There's some big abilities you can whiff, some combos that you have to get right to find the pickoffs that you need. So yeah, these players are really putting themselves to the test. My friend, Mina versus Wraith. Let's say 1v1, everything neutral. Who you like in that matchup?
I typically like the Wraith, sort of similar to the Infernus matchup. Mina is more reliant on the Nox Nostra there, and she goes for that. If the Wraith has good enough reflexes, you can use the telekinesis and just cancel it right out. Otherwise, Mina could have a shot there, but Wraith just with the more consistent damage, as well as, in my opinion, having better farm potential means that she'll probably be further ahead unless this Mina can have really explosive fights like we saw last game. But, of course, we did see that last game, and so it's not entirely out of the question that we see Mina just kind of snowball off of kills and not let the Wraith farm, to infinity, especially because they have those roaming duos who can just roam around and find the Wraith out of position. So in the 1v1, I would favor the Wraith, but of course, this is a MOBA. There's more to consider than just that, so we'll have to see how it works out for both these teams.
You're a man of technicalities, my friend, and I love that, but I'm a man of imagination, and I just wanted to know. Basically, it's like, guys, I don't really like Mina that much, and so whether she's super good or super not, just like, there's probably somebody better out there. Please pick that instead. Whatever, it doesn't matter. This is a game. We're all here to have fun and enjoy it. Friend, I think it's time. I think we're ready to get into the Cursed Apple. I'm very curious to see how this shakes out, what the lane matchups are. You and me, send us down, and away we go.
Pairs in the chat. It's gonna be pair. Okay, we do have some quirks with how the system works behind the scenes. It might not be finalized names, but that's right. That's pair on the Wraith, and that'll be interesting to see how it goes. These lanes, I think, are gonna be kind of a struggle for both these teams. Not a lot of strong laners picked by either side here. Notably, the Paradox is missing. No Yamato in this draft, so. Yeah. None of these lanes look incredibly strong. The Page Wraith on the right side with Moosey and Pear is going to be much the same as the McGinnis last time. The fire rate and...
Wingstop, lemon pepper, all flats? Lemon pepper, all flats.
Lemon pepper wings.
Tastes so good.
Wingstop, lemon pepper, all flats for Lake?
Seriously?
Wingstop's here.
Hey, Meta. Play long time.
Excuse me, where's the C train?
Hey, Meta, where's the C train?
It's 200 feet to the left.
the barriers onto what would normally be a squishy hero is going to mean that that Wraith can really just walk in without fear, but against the Mina and the Billy, that is a better lane matchup than you had last game, so I think that these lanes could go any way in any lane.
And what a way to have our lower bracket final here in Division 2. If your back's against the wall, throw something weird out there and see if the other team can handle it. Okay, this is what we're looking for. I'm interested to see how this Lash and Haze kind of match up here, friend. We were thinking that maybe the Mo and Krill would go together. That might be post-laning phase, but then they have to make sure that they're both okay to do that. I mean, there's a lot of things that need to feel like match up for these two, but they're looks like they're pushing in well so far.
Yeah, it's toxic positivity with the pressure in 2 out of 3 of these lanes. The Lash Haze is something we don't see as often just because those two heroes aren't always good in the draft, but you know, their laning together is fine. You have the Haze Sleep Dagger, and then Lash can just get in and combo people to oblivion as he wills. And you're up against a pretty squishy comp here with the GT and the Dynamo. The trouble is going to be, when can you find these engages? That one misses there.
Yeah, got the flog off, took a tower shot, missed the ground strike, but I love the tech off the wall. I mean, this is like, it's a MOBA with basically mobility elements, which, you love to see, but so much sustain in this lane here. You have the Dynamo just going to stay kind of in front of this GT, allow him to poke from distance. They're going to have to be very shifty there as we do shift to the mid lane. We're seeing, I believe it's the Ivy and the Moen Krill and the Abrams and the Holiday. Holiday you see in the mid lane a lot. Abrams, maybe not so much.
Yeah, but where you really want this Abrams, if he does go mid, is in the enemy's side veil. That little sneaky place where he can get a charge into the mid area and let his teammate follow up, but that doesn't seem to be the strategy so far. But yeah, not something you would normally see in the mid lane, and that's because, again, neither of these teams has drafted particularly heavy laners.
Okay, so they just got to make do with what they got then. And yeah, this is, once again, it's for fun. These aren't professionals. These are weekend warriors, so they're just playing with what they've got. And that makes for good deadlock, friend, because sometimes if it's just always the meta, this is what you got to pick, this is what you got to play, then it makes it boring. It's a game. Let's see some different stuff. That gives us wrinkles in the brain, different calls, different strategies, and that makes it fun for us to think about, okay, how are these things actually going to work as we see them play out? So do love what is going on here as we're kind of just reaching that neutral zone as the lanes are fighting out. We know we're looking for that 3.4K mark before the fireworks start to explode.
Yeah, but there's a second benchmark before that where a lot of these heroes start to get 2 points into an ability. You see Deathy talking about this a lot. That's where a lot of heroes just naturally find their power spikes, so that should be coming up soon here as we see an engage. The Wraith trying to get something working onto the Mina. That page barrier had to be used on the page, though. Who's that? The Billy must have forced that out from her, and now Wraith's in trouble.
Yeah, forcing out the cooldowns, and there it goes. Pear is sliced up once again. First blood goes to the Billy. You're right. There's that 2-point power spike, as you mentioned. Deathy, please coach me. I'm so bad. But yeah, okay, you'll love to see it. The charge comes through, the slam as well. That'll do the damage needed. But can they get anything off of it? They've already been winning that lane.
Yeah, there's just not been the tempo that you want to see from the Wraith and the Page, so they're kind of struggling to get this lane going, and that death, of course, won't be helping things either, but I called it out earlier, we're starting to reach that 3.4K mark, and I feel like, in particular, this left lane is going to explode when we do get that, between the really 3 super impactful ultimates, and then, of course, the Bird able to clean up anything that the Dynamo starts.
Yeah, I'm waiting for that one. We've got a tussle in the mid lane there. Some exchange of health bars, exchange of punches. The Ivy just swinging the bat. The stone form squishes them into the turret. But there's no combo available. Will be red ball. There it is. It's now available. The Abrams has to get out of it to charge away to save himself. Leaves his laner, though, in the dust.
Yep, and as soon as they come up, it gets, somehow a melee fight starts, and in the middle of it, Moen Krill finds out that he can do more with his hands than just punch. And so that's a nice little exchange there for Toxic Positivity. They go super deep chasing down Macedog here on this Dynamo. I think he was on the zipline trying to get away, but they've left the wave pretty far away here. They could miss out on some souls because of that.
Yeah, very interesting. We see the Haze kind of taking these off angles, right? Trying to set up the kills for their squad, but GT, he's wary to it. He knows what the assassin is trying to do. There, he's sending the owl out to the mid lane, trying to scope out. Maybe he can find an exit frag. Doesn't look like anybody's at that low health bar, but if he sets up a kill, that would be good. So far, the owl does not find any purchase, my friend. Finds a hit, nothing much after that.
I was really looking for those executes, but it doesn't come in. Let's see if Lash can get the executes. Big slam here, but the Dynamo, he uses the black hole, but it only catches out the Haze. Lash was careful enough to slam away from that, and so that's a clean kill here for Toxic Positivity. A second death for Macedog, and I like to say that that black hole is worth about as much as 1 kill, so 3 effectively deaths, but that means Moen Krill also in this mid lane has gone down too, so Friends of Goomanity will trade it out in another lane.
Man, I see what you're doing with the ult. I mean, I guess you can't be targeted while you're doing it, or if somebody slams or the follow-up, you can kind of try to stop it, right? But maybe in the lane like that, you save it? I feel like it was kind of wasted, you know? So a tough look there for Macedog, but he'll get it back in due time. as we're taking a look at the items here, friend, anything of note, it seems to me just to be standard business here in the Cursed Apple.
Yeah, it's still a little early to be calling out big builds here. The Dynamo does look to be building more of a supportive role rather than the gun, so unlikely that we'll see Friends of Goomanity go with that unconventional sort of DPS style. We have seen a couple of Rusted Barrels picked up, so that item is starting to gain some traction, especially against high fire rate heroes like that Haze, who really relies on those fixation stacks to be built up to do any damage. But yeah, as you said, this is mostly standard stuff here. Abrams will miss out on his chance to get a kill onto the Moe.
I love that, dude. The Ivy picking up the Moe and Grill, just they're flying away together. That should be like a cartoon or a video game in and of itself. Those three working together. Looking for the kills, though, now, ladies and gentlemen. It's been kind of a quiet affair so far here in this laning phase. I mean, it is a lower bracket final, so people maybe not trying to be as risky as they might in some other situations this holiday. Taking some strays, but not falling down just yet. I'm looking across the map at the Guardians here. Some folks taking some chip damage, some, you know, a little damage here and there, but nothing to write home about, friend. It's kind of stolen out here.
No, the one side that really would have impressive push towards those Guardians is right here with the Page and the Wraith, who are finally starting to get something done onto this Billy, but they've been so behind in this lane that they haven't been able to push so far. But now with just the Mina here to stall things out, and that knocks Nostragon down, now she does find the Page, so yeah, it's kind of back to nothing here.
Yeah, Page for Billy, that's your kind of like your supporter in lane. Okay, you'll take that as long as your carry is still able to get the farm they need, but this Mina is still hunting down the Gambler, does not want the mob boss to find any firm footing in that lane. Seeing some of the ultimates come online. I'm seeing mainly this Death Slam here. I'm looking for that biggin to find some purchase, along with the Haze, the Bullet Dance. That two in combination can do some work. Okay. Another Rusted Barrel, like you mentioned, just uses the Kinetic Pulse to push some people away. I don't know, friend. It's still, I'm looking for the things to call, and I don't know. Maybe I'll call my mom instead, but we'll see. There's the Death Slam. The bells are ringing, and the bell is rung there of Mace Dog. They find the kill again here in lane number 1.
All right, so that is Lash and Haze linking up as we said that they needed to do. Yeah, that Guardian pressure is starting to come in now. Now, Red Balls did...
I think Abby might be in danger.
Oh no. There's no way that'll work.
Clasifica de PG-13.
Every specialty pizza is just $9.99 when I mix and match?
Yep.
Treat yourself.
The People's Pizza?
Treat yourself.
Philly cheesesteak.
Treat yourself.
Ooh, the new spicy chicken bacon ranch pizza? Treat yourself.
Dom, minnows. Round 1.
A quick fix drops on your desk, but it's hiding something sinister. Junie suggests and rationalizes a plan before generating and testing your code. Ship reliably with no fear. Junie, a coding agent built for real work.
Today I had to pause everything because Lenovo sent me their Legion Series 5. It's available with the latest AMD Ryzen AI 300 series or Ryzen 200 series. So you can run 300 ChatGPT tabs and accidentally leave your online exam open in another tab. Now you have something to blame for your glorified burnout.
Point something out that I hadn't quite yet seen, and Babbage's has picked up the very early Trophy Collector in this mid lane. Trophy Collector, you know, been maligned for so long, especially by the Deathstir himself, but it did recently receive a buff to the amount of souls per minute that you get from each stack. So with Babbage's probably looking to just combo people and get those assists, that's going to be a way that he can stay ahead without having to farm as heavily. This Wraith, he does need to farm, and with the Captivating Read allowing her to put in some damage here, and now the Page ult thrown in as well, this is an opportunity for them.
And can they capitalize on it? Looks like the Mini is able to get out of dodge in this one. I like that call of the trophy collector because it's been a meme for so long, but maybe now it's going to be good. The Billy, he has to be run away, been sliced by the, he can't read, he's a goat. He doesn't like letters, it's extra damage on him, so he's got to just run away from that. But finally, some lane pressure back, but now the Holiday sneaking forward, wants to take down the goat, and they do. Fed it right to Pear, ate that one up. The captive read slowing Amina down. She's got to float away into the skies. I think she'll be fine from that. A good dodge of the Nox Nostra, but finally a win in that lane, and finally the Guardian goes down.
Great gank there from Red Balls. He's giving up some pressure on this mid Guardian. Ivy's starting to find some damage on it. Lone Krill, definitely a hero who can stall out between the Sandblast and the combo, so now Holiday will have time to make it back over. Billy gonna try and overstack this one now for Toxic Positivity. They've got 3-on-2, but now with Moosey answering, that's just gonna stall out, I think.
And some ultimates expended on both sides, seismic impact, the combo, all that jazz. But okay, friend, we're entering closer to the mid game. Who do you like, as we go? I don't care if kills start happening. I want to hear your thoughts, hear your theory craft on which team might find that little step forward as we enter the mid game.
Well, composition-wise, I would favor Toxic Positivity. I've talked a couple times in the draft about this Moan Krill Haze, and that's because it's been so deadly in so many different levels of competition, all the way down from, some of our lower divisions in the Death Slam League, to Collegiate, to even the big tournaments that are going on with professional teams. This Haze and Moan Krill has been a constant thorn in the side of teams that don't quite get the hang of rotating to those isolated junglers. So Toxic Positivity have some crucial abilities there to be able to roam around in the mid game and find picks. But playstyle-wise, Goomanity have already shown an affinity to playing that sort of style and just finding random pickoffs, and they've got the tools to be able to do so again with the Wraith and the Holidays. So this is going to be a question of, do Toxic Positivity adapt based on their comp, or should they maybe adapt their comp to their playstyle?
And we'll find who's adapted now as the Professor gets slammed down, but it's really just a defensive tool so the Lash can get out of dodge. He was in an awkward position there. The Ivy eliminated in the mid lane by the Detective. He searched him out and took him out. Well done there. Another kill notched on the board. Oh, wait, what? How did that guy go down? Maybe just a headshot from distance. I don't know. But the Haze eliminated. The ground strike does connect onto 2. Okay, still commencing. You said lane 1 was going to be a bullet fest, and it has delivered. So many bullets flying.
Yeah, this Lash has been 2v1 for quite a while. Ivy now coming in to support. Only one Guardian down so far, almost 13 minutes into the game. These lanes have been really stale, and it's just because nobody's able to scale quite yet. A lot of the biggest threats in lane, again, not here in this draft.
Yeah.
And so both teams are just scrapping for these little advantages. Red Balls had the time to pull off a gank and didn't lose the tower for it. So this is all a consequence of these unusual drafts that we're seeing from these teams. And now there's an earn up, so an additional objective to play for. Anytime you can find any sort of space advantage is when you're really going to want to be pressing and try and find just something here in the early game.
We're going to see some trades, right? We're going to say, okay, if you take Urn, I'm taking Guardian. And speaking of Guardians, one finally goes down there in lane number 1. But you bring up such a good point, my friend, about how a lot of these heroes that are quote-unquote meta or whatever is because they're so strong in the early game that they can take these Guardians, unlock flex slots, unlock map positioning, etc. And when you don't have that, it really does stall out a little bit, which makes for a completely different game. Doesn't mean it's bad, doesn't mean it's anything. It's just a different way to play. And I love that we're showcasing it here. Right now, the Mo is showing a different way to play, and it's to run away from the bullets. But I think he just sacrifices himself to Pear, takes a card to the face.
And not able to escape there as there's 3 on that right side. Pear now roaming around trying to find jungle and picks where he can. This mid lane is now the only one with 2 Guardians in it. Both the ones on the left side fell in quick succession here. The Abrams able to get out. This one is going to be now the focus for both these teams. You're just kind of leaving the Wraith to her own devices on the right side as you try and push for this mid Guardian here for Toxic Positivity.
Friend, something we haven't talked about too much, and you know me. It's like a, we always talk all the time about this, but the soul disparity, right? It's about what, 5k on here, not too bad. So I want to see where the souls are being allotted, and what I'm seeing here is Maestog with 13k and Amsung with 10. What do you make of that?
Amsung with 10 is not super surprising. Grey Talon usually a bit more of an economical pick. Maestog at 13, slightly more surprising, but we did see him you know, survive a little bit longer than Amzung in some of these lane fights. So just picking up those souls while his laner was dead. And this is going to be Babbage's going down for a second time in quick succession. So those trophy collector stacks not doing him very much good right now. But speaking of the soul allocation, Makura is up to 14,000. That's on parity with Pear, who is the leading souls in the lobby. So doing a good job of keeping up so far, and that's going to really have an impact here in this mid fight.
As you can see now, yes, everything, all the abilities unleashed. The Death Slam back in, clatters into 2, and 2 are smashed into smithereens. Make it 3, and it's a 5-player kill streak from Akura. We've seen them on the streak before. Make it 6. This guy on a tear.
Yeah, but so's this Wraith. That Walker is getting torn to shreds. Moan Grill gonna try and come back in, but Babbage's cannot afford a third death here in a row. Oh, an unlucky teleport from the Wraith. Goes up onto those spikes, and Ziggy is just waiting there for him. Even if he didn't find that flog there, maybe the spikes would have finished off that race. So Pear will pay for that with his life, but a very early Walker take, and that's exactly what we saw Toxic Positivity do last game, as they were pressuring the Walkers when when Positivity, excuse me, were elsewhere. I think I mixed up those names, but you saw it earlier. The McGinnis was pressuring things really hard, and it turned into an advantage. And so, names aside, Toxic Positivity are doing it this time.
Yeah, that's what they want to do. Push down the towers, get more lane pressure back into your favor, and maybe get the urn in if you can. The Haze under pressure here. The shoulder charge knocks them down. The Ivy says, okay, I don't think I want any part of this. They leave the urn in the dust. That's for anybody to claim. I think it will be the Sapphire Flame to gather it here. Captive Reed to try to lock down that ability. Barry Lewis, a massive black hole sucks up to the charge, comes through to knock them all down like dominoes. It's Mace Dog on the chase.
Goomanity now starting to take this smaller lead and make it bigger. That's exactly what you want to see, just that snowball. And now they've taken the third Guardian as well in that mid lane, so a flex slot advantage once again for Goomanity. And Pear on this 18,000 Wraith is just gonna climb further and further ahead of Makura. And then as well, red balls on this holiday not doing too shabby either. That's a secondary source of damage that you could have if you build for it, but I'd be curious to see what that build is if we ever get over to it. But yeah, Toxic Positivity now just falling further behind. It was about a, 5,000 soul lead, and that's not a whole lot for 17 minutes, but now blossoming into 12,000, and it's dangerous territory for Positivity. You need to at least try and be setting up these picks with your comp. Play a little proactive, be the ones to initiate rather than letting Goomanity do whatever they like.
And this was going to be the question that I posed to you as we take a look at this trophy collector. Not maybe doing too much here for the Mo and Krill. He's got to really get those stacks. Only one on there so far. Thank you and me, for showing that. But it's this Billy for me, my friend. What is his role in this? What is he going to do? Is he trying to dive onto the GT in the back line? Is he supposed to, batter against the Abrams? Like, what is he trying to get done in these fights?
I think he's mostly being used as setup with the amount of displacement from the Bash as well as the ultimate, the Chain Gang.
Yeah.
But there's just so much, escapability from that for Friends of Goomanity. While you are locked out of movement options like the Dynamo Quantum Entanglement, if you get caught in it, you're not likely to group up in the first place for Goomanity. So you might catch the Abrams, maybe the Page, but that's about all you'll find. Really, Talon and Dynamo aren't likely to be caught in those sorts of things, and they can come in and try and help their teammates out. So it is going to be a tough job for Wires here on this Billy. But we saw him make it work with the Warden earlier against a comp that was not as likely to group up. So he's faced these sorts of challenges before.
Okay, well, there you have it, folks. This Billy, it's not a throw pick as I maybe originally thought. There is some opportunity, but it has to be the right opportunity. Target prioritization in MOBAs is such a critical thing. You can't just expend your ults willy-nilly. They have to be at the right time. But look at this build, my friend. He's going for a lot of gun damage and a superior duration probably for the Chain Gang. But that's an interesting, you think usually it's like Vitality. You really want to scale him up so he can frontline. What do you make of this build?
The escalating resilience, I think, is
Looking to switch things up with a real gaming PC? The Lenovo Lock 15 is stacked with the AMD Ryzen 200 series, which is game ready with powerful built-in graphics and Ryzen AI, alongside the latest 50 series NVIDIA graphics. But even crazier is the hyper chamber cooling. Stays chill, runs quiet, and no sweat. And Lenovo AI Core even boosts your FPS automatically, so it's zero effort, zero lag. Lock it in with the Lenovo Lock.
Harry Potter, the full cast audio editions. Listen on Audible.
Alta wanted a hotel with an ocean view. Then he found a vacation rental with an oceanfront yard. Easily find your stay. Expedia. Book now.
Kind of the key focus there. It is a gun item, yes, but it's also just really good for sustain. So he is building kind of the gun vitality that you would expect to see from a Billy. It's just that, you know, the colors don't always line up. The superior duration will help with the blasted, I think, primarily, because that'll mean that he has basically even more sustain in these fights with those punches, getting him more health and less damage from the enemies, which is another form of sustain. So, yeah, it's a incomplete build is all that it is right now.
Fair enough, and there's still plenty of time left in this one. The Nos Noxtra, though, let loose from the Vampiress. Clatters into a couple, but nobody's really worse for wear because of it. Now it's about what structures are we looking for as we kind of parse out the map. The urn is available. The mid-boss has spawned. Bridge buffs had been contested. Seeing the waves pushed up here in lane number 3. The Moan Krill is responding to that. G&T and Hayes just content to farm it up there in lane number 1. Looks like a fight in the mid is about to break out. Billy to try to start us off here, but maybe to escape the fly drop, or the airdrop rather, has to get him out of dodge. No fight ends up happening in the mid lane.
Yeah, I think that's a good decision from both these teams. A lot of the times where we see them go wrong is they just take a fight over nothing, and so both those teams recognize that the fight there kind of pointless unless you get a clean team wipe out of it. And that's not likely to happen with some of these scrappier team comps. So both teams backing off, taking their farm, of which there's not a whole lot left. So these teams have been pretty efficient. Pair, 24,000. Again, we're keeping an eye on that because that is the main source of damage for Friends of Goomanity. That's their win button. And so if Pair can get off to a an even bigger lead, then it's going to be really deadly here. But the combo will catch out the Abrams as he tried to get away with the ultimate. And there's that roaming ability from Toxic Positivity that we wanted to see from them. A good parry there onto the Billy means that he's got an even longer life in this fight. Fire's down to 1 HP. Babbage's goes as well. This is good rotations from Friends of Goomanity. This was a strength for them last game, and it's coming back again here. Toxic Positivity now outnumbered in this fight.
How did he survive the Abrams, a 2v1, and he turns it around? The Mo and Krill expended everything in the arsenal, and he dies Billy to boot, and that will be the call for the mid-boss. This alien booger man, not long for the world. Everybody will be shredding him. A clean take from the side of the Goomanity. The consolation prize will be the urn for Toxic Positivity.
Great call from Goomanity. Normally, I think this early on, I wouldn't call mid-boss if you only got 2 picks, especially when Toxic Positivity have so many ults to be able to contest it with. But they also see that Positivity are going for the urn, and so that means that at least one person, probably more, are dedicated to securing that. That means that's an uncontested mid-boss there for Goomanity. So great awareness and great reading the map from their players. Now that they've got this, they can take even more space. This is a second trophy collector here onto the Dynamo. He's a bit healthier than the Mokrill, so 8 stacks means that he's getting 240 souls per minute. Some quick maths there. A little bit better of a passive soul trade.
Yeah, we'll take that payout. I'll take that payout any day of the week. All right, so back to parity once again, but the only difference here is the level of souls. It's 11 difference now as we make our way to the 23-minute mark. Rejuve has been taken. Now it's about what's the aggressive play. Do they go? There's a Walker still available on lane number 1. Is that what they're going to try to push for here next one?
This is a split push here. The Wraith forcing a 1v2, maybe even 1v3 if this Hayes gets involved, and she will die for it, especially if the Lash comes in with a big slam here. But the rest of the team, you see them over in mid, they're going to take this Walker and probably a couple of kills to boot. Pair with the Rejuve means that he'll be able to stall for this much longer. Half of Toxic Positivity are not even defending their Walker. That said, they're doing a pretty good job, this Ivy, with the wave clear, and Mina just putting in as much damage as she can with the Nox Nostra, but eventually the resources will be expended. Now the Wraith has been fended off, though. The rest of Toxic Positivity coming in here.
Yeah, the battle now in earnest. A ton of ultimates let loose. There's the bash. There's the beat down from the Billy. Every boy trying to get after this Abrams, but he's just so damn tanky. A seismic gains impact. Finally goes the chain gains rattle, but nobody's home. Finally, the Billy is put to rest. A turnaround here for the Friends of Goomanity. The slow siege working for him. The Death Slam utilized throughout that entire engagement, and they got what they came for, and that's actually the Walker in lane number 1.
Yep, they didn't kill the Wraith a second time, so Pear just comes right back in, scoops that one up, looking for base guardians as well. Toxic Positivity have to answer every single lane at once, and this is the power of the rejuve. You can just commit to an objective, and the enemy team has to commit so many more resources than you do. Look at this! Nut is already down to 1 HP against this Wraith. She's so fed, and with almost 6k souls in the bank. Alright, she will go down, and that's for good this time, for at least 55 seconds, but Friends of Goomanity have got more than they needed out of this.
Yeah, they certainly did, but don't give up too much. Like we saw in the series #1, if you dive too deep, unlock the bullrog of the other team, and they can come streaming forward. That's the next objective. Get those extra, that final flex slot available for you. You can go back, spend your hard-earned souls, and go, on your way, clear some jungle camps, etc. But okay, a good utilization of this Rejuve Crystal, and my friend, are they going for more? They're taking out the shrines. They said no services here. That's gotta go. They're moving on to the other set, or will they retreat? It looks like maybe the call is split. A few members are going for this final shrine. Could be a misplay. Well, only time will tell. I'm very concerned here. They sacrifice a Rejuve to get this shrine. Now the retreat horns are sound.
Yeah, they're a little deep without their carry here. Pear would be the one to normally tear up these objectives, but he's not in the fight, and so they're just kind of at the mercy of Toxic Positivity. They do make it out with 1 Rejuve Crystal, so they've got the buffs for another 30 seconds, but they need to take the bridge buffs and not get caught on the way out. Toxic Positivity are given a good chase.
Yeah, and that's what you gotta weigh those options, the cost benefit. Do we stay a little bit longer? Do we go on the map? And right now they're reaping all the costs as down goes the detective. Abrams eliminated on the retreat. Do they look for more here? Toxic Positivity? No, they gotta defend the base.
Yeah, Makura almost died as well. The Grey Talon arrows popping in against those squishy heroes means that they can only stay for so long, but it's still continuing here. Goomanity have not retreated yet.
The GT, he's hunting the people on his checklist. The arrows, not another one into the chest of the Lash. Okay, but now, my friend, I'm looking at the map. Everybody's backing off. The urn is where they're going next.
Yep, and the Wraith just picked up that gun buff as well, so 32,000 plus the extra ammo and fire rate from that buff means that she's pretty strong right now. She's going to be looking for a fight as soon as possible, and that's why Musi is going to pick up this urn, and I imagine that they're going to try and deliver it, even though it is on the Toxic Positivity side. And you see the crippling headshot here from Musi. Not an item that we see very often, but despite the books from Paige not being able to actually headshot themselves, they can proc those headshot items. Bit of a weird interaction, but we see it with a couple other things in the game as well. So Musi definitely looking to leverage that in this urn fight.
Okay, Musi, post that build, homie. Let's see what it is. I want to try it out myself, and that's the best thing about Deadlock, is you can share your build with the rest of the community. We're seeing now, this is the time where folks gotta scale up to the next portions of the map. I'm expecting the true engagements really maybe around the 30-minute mark, as that's where people are probably gonna get to the next echelon of souls. But look at the disparity. You said we're gonna keep track of this Wraith here, friend. 34k, Mina only at 28.
Yeah, she's fallen further and further behind. No space means no ability to take farm, and so these greedy heroes from Toxic Positivity, well, I say that, it's mainly just the Mina, but she's not been able to find the farm that she needs to keep up with Friends of Goomanity. Of course, the space game, just such a strong point for this Goomanity squad. And yeah, also the flex slots. Like, there are all 3 walkers up for Friends of Goomanity, so even the souls that Makura does have aren't able to be used as efficiently as Pear, who you see has every flex slot, every advantage in the world for them. Even some tier 1s just kind of hanging in there because they haven't had...
I love gaming, but sometimes I do need to leave the house. Thankfully, the Lenovo Legion Go S is perfectly built for gaming on the go. Thanks to the AMD Ryzen Z1 Extreme processor, I'm able to play AAA games easily wherever I want. The adjustable trigger switches are super helpful to set the device to cater to exactly what I'm playing. And the 8-inch display with a 120Hz refresh rate gives me the immersive experience I love. Plus, the ergonomic design means that I stay comfortable even during long sessions. Check out more about Lenovo's Legion Go S in the link below.
And now, we know we're passionate about quality. But are the people here a bit obsessed? I mean, we conduct 31,000 tests each month to ensure our vitamins and supplements are the highest quality, purity, and potency, because we're committed to ensuring the best quality for the best price. Okay, so one of our scientists named their dog Quality, so what? And I guess our staff softball team is called the Qualities? Oh yeah, no, maybe we are obsessed. At least it's a healthy obsession.
to sell yet, but that's how
Friend.
this fight shaped out.
The Dynamo goes in for a 3-man ult and gets slept right as the black hole expands. And we're going to take a look at this replay presented by Metal just to see just that. I mean, that could have been the game. If that ultimate lands, that's a whole team wipe. They're storming the base in earnest because they already got most of the shrines in there. That would have been the nail in the coffin. Sorry to cut you off on your analysis there. But man, that was a game-defining moment to keep Toxic Positivity in this one.
No, that's a great call. I completely missed that. So great job on our observers and you and me on the production as well to take us back to that one, make sure we called it out. But we're starting to see some unstoppables get picked up here for Toxic Positivity. Ziggy on the Lash picked one up earlier. Now you see Nut the White on the Haze picking one up too. So that's going to be pretty important here against the Black Hole, against the CC of the Abrams. There's just so much from Goomanity that this will try and help stop. You know, every single character has a stun of some kind. Really, GT's the lowest CC member on Goomanity. But speaking of CC, Abrams now locked up, but so comes the Holiday Lasso. This is turning into a big brawl here with 4 members of Goomanity missing.
Mo and Krill hog-tied there behind the Sheriff, and now every ultimate expended. The Death Slam utilized as well, but I'm not seeing anybody on the gray screen. A massive black hole, it's huge to get down 4, but Base Dog gets down his life. Oh no, the turnaround is big for Toxic Positivity, but they need to get more. 2 is not enough. The Haze, not the White, is nothing, no more. That high five, an explosive array of abilities. The teams, they're backing off.
Maze Dog, I think there was no chance that he killed 4 people in the black hole by himself. The rest of Friends of Goomanity was not there. I think it was just to stall, and it worked. They were able to come in and even things up, and they're considering going mid here. I don't hate it. A lot of the ultimates used for Toxic Positivity, but they're definitely aware of this and will be contesting. So this could be an important pitch point here. Do Goomanity push the lead, or can Positivity find a way back into this?
Get ready, folks. Hold on to your seats in this lower bracket final. Toxic Positivity, this is their time to strike the chain gang. I thought I heard the rattling, but it's not available just yet. The Rejuve split 2 to 3. I think they're okay with that as long as they can get the eliminations off the board. Dalt goes down first. Maku as well has to use the Rejuve to get back to Nastra. The bats are flying everywhere. I thought I saw Batman in this cave here. Now it's really just the Gargoyle of the Ivy slamming down into a couple. The eliminations have not yet gone through, ladies and gentlemen. I'm looking for the beat down. There it is. Finally, the Sheriff taken down. Oh my word, this is the Friends of Goomanity. They are fighting for humanity in this one. They find 4 eliminations in the pit.
There you go. That's going to be, I think, the big thing that takes this game for them. They're even able to find Makura there on the chase. And with no base guardians remaining, aside from those on the right side, and only that half of a shrine as well, this is going to be a patron drop at the very least for Friends of Goomanity. And if they can get a wave in here soon, it could even be the end of the game here. Those respawn timers are starting to go pretty long at 31 minutes. But Toxic Positivity on their last legs here in the championship.
Ooh, yeah, lower bracket final. They're already down 1 game. They're down their patron. They're down some shrines, but a bit of reprieve here. Friends of Goomanity having some mercy. They don't go for the final kill. They decide to retreat here for now. Maybe clean up some of the map. The urn is online. Do you think that's the right call?
I don't know. That's always a really risky play, is do you stay or do you leave after you drop the patron there? The respawn timers were a little bit shorter than I thought once that patron drop happened, so I'm not shocked to see them back off, and Goomanity really can take it at whatever pace they choose. They're so far ahead. Pear is just unstoppable on this race. Well, not literally, doesn't have that tier 14 item, but hey, you know what I mean. And so Goomanity are really hard to stop now. They need this Mo to find something, but Goomanity, rotations have been a strength for them. Toxic Positivity have to be really careful not to get caught out.
And it's like you have to out-rotate the rotate that they're rotating. Everybody's spinning in circles. But we talked about this in the draft, is that Toxic Positivity's composition is very difficult to execute. I feel like I haven't seen the layering of abilities or this assassin guerrilla warfare style really come to fruition for them because they've kind of been on the back foot for a majority of this game. Now they're going for the risky play of picking up the urn. Everybody crowding around Billy. He's caught out. Oh, and he gets taken down. The GOAT no longer in this one now, as the rest of his teammates going to follow him to the gray screen. That is the question. This Hayes under pressure. The Ivy trying to will them back to the base. A good sleep dart there, only to delay the gray screen. And there it is. Nut goes back to the base. That's 2 caught out over the urn. Make it 3.
This is the game. They tried to take that urn and then just back out, but there's so much CC from Friends of Goomanity. Like, they picked up the Unstoppables, but there weren't enough of them, apparently. Ziggy now with the refresher, trying to get a lash ult here, will only catch 1. That is not enough. This is going to be Friends of Goomanity taking this 2-0 and going to the finals against Lashback.
My word, what a game between these squads. It was close until it wasn't. Pear became more like a pear tree, I guess. Just a towering member in that one. Unstoppable, as you said, friend. But a wonderful series in the lower bracket final. Whew. Folks, chat, let me know how you're feeling after that one. I know I'm worked up. Soren, your brain is probably hurting after that. So much analysis done on these different compositions. And I'm looking for more of the same as we head into our upper bracket final, which will be part of the Division 1. So we won't see those teams again. You'll have to find out in the social media as well as in the Discord to see who wins that, or just talk to the people in the community or watch. Get the VODs, whatever it is. Whew, Soren, any final thoughts? I know there were some clips in there that you want to review.
Yeah, so if we look at the stats first before we get into that, I think that this was a really interesting draft from both sides. Nobody was looking to do a lot of that late game damage besides Pear and Maku, and you see Pear definitely got the better end of that deal with the top souls, top objectives, top player damage, and Maku just kind of fell behind and was never able to catch up. Nut started to pick up some of that slack, but again, not quite enough, whereas the CC from Friends of Goomanity was really strong. And then just, again, the thing that I want to highlight about how they played as a team this entire match was that they were always rotating. They were always active on the map and the ones taking the initiative in these fights. So it wasn't just, one individual playing super well. Of course, Pear had a really good game both times. Moosey on that page, a strong performance from them as well. But it was really just their dynamic as a team that kept them going, and they were always on top of things. Hayes and Mo and Krill, not off to as much of a pick potential as we know that they can be, just maybe a little bit lacking in the team communication. So Friends of Goomanity will take it home on their strengths as a team.
Sometimes it is a team game after all. You gotta 6 members have to move around the map in unison. You can't just play as an individual as much as sometimes we would like. So, okay, Friends of Goomanity, I'm here for it. They get their shot at Lashback. This will be a rematch of the upper bracket final in this Division 2 series. So definitely looking forward to that one. I think now, Soren, sorry, I've been jumping the gun so much today, man. I keep missing that all-important stat screen. I know you and me keeps posting it in our little live chat here, and I'm just like, whatever. I want to go to do something else. But okay, very important stats. I'm glad we get to see it. Thank you for breaking it down for us. But the replays, that's what I want to see. Break it down for us.
Yeah, so this second rejuve here was, I think, really important because something really interesting happens as soon as this crystal drops. All of the ultimates come in and all of the unstops and all of the stuns get used, but Goomanity all go in for parries here and no punches, whereas Toxic Positivity pop their unstoppables and don't really do a whole lot of anything with them. All the parries expire, and that lets Lash get in a free punch, but if they'd had just one person there to parry Toxic Positivity, they would have had all 3 crystals completely to themselves. All of Goomanity, maybe just not enough coordination about who would punch, who would parry, so an opportunity there, but Positivity not with the members enough to be able to capitalize, and then the team fight afterwards just goes the way of Goomanity because they've got that extra rejuve and the stats from it, as well as a bunch of crucial ultimates thrown in. So again, just another opportunity, a slight small area for these teams to improve in on how they approach the rejuve.
Great eye there, friend, and a great mechanic in the game. It's that chicken, it's like, do I rock, do I paper, do I scissor? I don't know what to do, and it seems like everybody chose rock in that one and everyone else chose paper. I don't know, whatever, the other thing, and nobody got the crystal, but in the end, whatever, it happened. The fight went the way of Goomanity, and they were able to see that one out right. Whew. All right, folks, it has been a pleasure. We're going to head to a short break. We'll see you.
Wingstop lemon pepper all flats?
Lemon pepper all flats.
Lemon pepper wings!
Tastes so good.
Wingstop lemon pepper all flats for Lake?
Seriously?
Wingstop's here.
told him yet?
Told me what?
We only accept certain forms of payment, like iron ingots, cowrie shells.
Is this serious?
The world is moving quickly these days. I'm sure we can all agree.
Come on, let's be real. Your currency's not just old, it's not working for you anymore.
What do you want? You want a robot? You want a robot as a father?
Dad, I'm not saying we have to change who we are. I'm just saying it could be a lot easier if we bank through like Cash App instead of...
How do I pay for this?
Own a vacation rental? If it's not listed on Booking.com, it's invisible to millions of travelers on our platform. Don't let your vacation rental be invisible. Get seen, get booked. On Booking.com, Booking.yeah.
On the other side.